Looks like we have more to react to with the Tush Push because now it's not just some whiny teams that are against it. The commissioner himself, Roger Goodell, we're after you. It's Kincade Salciunas, 97.5, The Fanatic.
This is Kincade and Salciunas.
We do recognize the issues that have hurt this team over the last couple of years. I'm enjoying this season. They're going to be a good ball club.
That kind of stuff bothers me. It annoys the crap out of me in the moment. It doesn't annoy me enjoying the game or enjoying the whole baseball season.
Kincade and Salciunas. John Kincade, Andrew Salciunas.
97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
And a good Wednesday morning, Philadelphia. I'm Andrew Salciunas alongside my man, John Kincade. Johnny, we got more enemies today, man. This is ridiculous. Good morning.
Everything about this story that you think you've heard has changed. It's all changed since yesterday.
So
it's a different story today that we're going to be talking about on the show today.
And it seems like the state of the Tush Push is legitimately in danger. So yesterday, when we're on the air, We're trying to do the math of the coaches or GMs that have come straight up and have said whether they're for the Tush Push or in favor of banning the Tush Push. There are some guys that are very much on the record. Of course, we knew that there were some teams kind of waiting in the weeds, right?
Jordan Schultz reporting yesterday, he thought there were 16 votes. I know Steve Weish and some of the people at the NFL Network thought they had 14.
Okay, so in the teens.
So, Connor was still a little more than we thought. I think you said 13, I said 12.
I said 10.
It's a little bit more than we thought.
Yep.
But between the two of them, let's just say split the difference. It was 15.
Okay,
That 15 teams. So almost half the league was willing to say, yeah, ban it.
But not 24.
Correct.
Which is the number that it would have taken for the league to have officially banned the Tush Push. So here's what happens. When the conversation first comes out, while we're on the air yesterday, Diana Rossini reported that it could just be straight up tabled. I thought that was all right, we have no momentum with getting this play banned. Let's just say to hell with it. We'll try to get rid of it next year, or maybe something will come up during the season. Connor even brought up conspiracy theories of what if guys fake injuries next season just to try to get it
Which,
banned.
by the way, was not outlandish.
No, I don't think
that's
so.
That's not
either.
outlandish.
Yeah.
But I think it would only happen on goal line plays.
Right, because you don't want to get taken out of the game at midfield.
Because you don't have to. The only play you have to sit out if you're a defensive player faking it is the kickoff.
Right.
Yeah, I had half a good idea.
No, I
just
think
got the rest of the time.
I
still
understood
pretty good
what
idea.
you were saying because there are people that straight up hate the play that would probably go to those lengths to try to prove a point.
Frankie down the beltway.
Exactly. So I thought the tabled discussion was just like, all right, we'll try this again next year. No. Turns out the tabled discussion is for Roger Goodell and the other owners who are anti-Tush Push to reconvene, have more time to try to sway the opinion of those who were in favor of keeping the Tush Push, or come up with maybe terminology surrounding the play itself. There are Bills fans that have been all up in my mention. They don't do the Tush Push. They just run a sneak. No, you do run the Tush Push, but they only have one person behind Josh Allen, whereas the Eagles have two, sometimes three players behind Jalen Hurts.
Josh Allen's what, 6'5",
yeah,
6'6"?
He's gigantic.
So there's a little bit of a difference.
But there's still pushing of the tush that takes place in Buffalo, despite their hypocrite head coach saying they don't like the play because of the injury risk, and yet they ran it the second most times in the NFL. So maybe the Tush Push is still allowed, but maybe instead of three guys behind, it can only be one, or maybe there can only be certain ways to run the play itself, but it would still change what the Eagles do. The problem with all of this is now coming from upstairs. This is now coming from Roger Goodell, and I was listening to the Mike Missanelli show yesterday, and Bill found an article in The Athletic from 2 years ago. It was December of 2023, where Roger Goodell did not want the Tush Push to remain in the NFL. He wanted it banned because he did not like the way that it looked. He did not source any injury concerns. No. He just straight up said, I don't like it. It's not a football
He was Connor
play.
with torpedo bats.
Right.
He took that same old wimpy boy attitude.
Yeah.
Connor with the torpedo
Even
bat.
though it was a legal play, he just didn't like it. And so now the conversation of this being tabled, you're basically being told, all right, we're not going to have it banned in April, but we're going to find a way to have it banned in May.
I think what the key is what Andrew Brandt said, is that the idea is that it's not a victory because what they did is they put their finger in the air, felt the breeze, saw where the vote was going. They couldn't lose the vote because if they lost the vote, here's a good one for you. This is getting in the weeds a little bit. When people put up a rule change and then they try to propose the rule change again with that different wording,
right,
and it's been shot down once, it gets shot down again like 97% of the time or something.
Okay.
The first or second time they try to do it. Because then everybody thinks, well, you're just trying to just monkey around with it. They didn't allow it yesterday. They didn't allow a vote. So that way, they make sure that the vote that comes up on this is one vote, and they hope that they're going to find 24. I don't think they're going to find 24 teams to do it. I still do not. But I think they're going to get a lot closer to 24.
So I saw a tweet from Peter Schrager yesterday.
Of ESPN.
Of ESPN, now part of the family. Hearing the Tush Push debate amongst the teams is the rare rule change proposal where both sides are not only dug in and very passionate, but there are influential voices making cases to potentially, quote, swing vote on both sides of the debate. This is the story of the week. So, this has become, we talked about it yesterday. This is becoming political.
Why, though?
I don't know.
Yes, you do. You do, though.
Wimps?
No. Well, that's part of it. But here it is. We can't stop you. So we're going to stop you. We're going to find a way to stop you. And to me, it's the ultimate respect. This is the ultimate. It's not disrespect. This is the ultimate respect.
All right, it's respect, but it's still ridiculous if it does end up getting banned.
We hate it. We hate it because it's happening to us. But I hear Mike Missanelli yesterday, and our own Mike, and I'm a big listener to Mike, and I love Mike, and I've listened to Mike argue this for years. And he's like, you people, you only like this because it's an Eagles thing. Bullcrap, Mike. The majority of teams in the NFL, the majority of votes yesterday were in favor of keeping it.
Right.
So are you telling me that the people in all these other cities, they're doing it because they're Eagles fans? That's a bunch of crap. What it is it's a football play. The Eagles can do it. Nobody can stop it. And so what they do is say, now we're going to try to legislate it.
Right, we're trying to police it because nobody can stop it, which is horrible.
I'm going to disagree, though, with a lot of people. I do not. First of all, I do know they're going to change the wording.
Yes.
And what they're going to change the wording to do, and that little just snake, Matt LaFleur, they're going to try to change the wording so it's about where guys can line up and everything. And they may get more people to support that. But I do not believe they're going to find 24 votes to shut this thing down.
Okay.
Not this year. I don't believe. But this thing's on the heading to extinction list.
So this topic of the Tush Push has become an oak tree. There are so many branches when it comes to the discussion of the Tush Push, which is amazing. A play that averages 1 yard is the biggest talking point in the entire NFL.
It's all over the place.
Think about the draft. John, we have Andrew DeCecco coming in studio tomorrow because it'll be 3 weeks to the NFL draft, and that's not even the biggest story in the sport. The biggest story is a 1 yard play.
ESPN overnights did 3 minutes on each half-hour block on the Tush Push.
It's actually amazing.
I mean, it's the story right now.
Yeah.
It's made the monologues of Jimmy Kimmel. It's made the monologues of some of the other shows.
Well, I told you guys
They're having
a month
fun
or
with
two
it.
ago, Daniel Tosh, who, if you
Sure.
remember Tosh
Tosh.
1.0, the old show back in the
Great
day.
show.
He has a podcast, and his one entire episode was on the Tush Push. This is left sports. This is now, to your point, become an entertainment discussion as well. So my first question, because again, it's an oak. There are so many branches to this.
It's an oak.
I want to discuss this a little bit more coming up next, and you're also going to hear from Jeffrey Lurie coming up next, a true football guy.
Oh, he is.
Because Mr. Lurie talks about the Tush Push and why it should stay. But does this open up a dangerous door where leagues over-police the sport? We're not talking about banning nose-wiping celebrations because there's gang ties related to it. We're talking about a play that works. Goes back to banning the shift not that long ago. You did it because it wasn't appeasing the audience.
Right.
Because there weren't as many balls in play. But you took away strategy from teams in baseball. Now, am I crying over the shift being gone? I have not. I still love the game. But I wonder, does this open up a dangerous door where leagues can over-police a sport for reasons that aren't factually correct? You'll hear from Jeffrey Lurie on all this coming up next. It's Kincade Salciunas on a Shefty Wednesday, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Mike Missanelli.
You have a...
Here on Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. I want John and Connor to answer the question here momentarily, but before we get to it, Jeffrey Lurie spoke yesterday. League meetings going on in Florida. And, obviously the big topic of conversation has been the Tush push.
Have they talked about anything else? A few other things.
A few other things. The overtime rule.
Triple header on Christmas.
Overtime rule passed.
Yeah.
Where both teams get a chance, and it's 10 minutes long.
10 minutes is, I could see the Eagles, by the way, just keeping the ball.
Yeah, I know. I thought about it. What would the strategy be? Go down real quick or take your time?
Take your time.
You know?
Absolutely take your time.
But Jeffrey Lurie was speaking about the tush push. Obviously, he was asked all about it.
Sure.
So it's a bit of a longer clip because he took the time to really, prove his point. And we'll get it to you here in a second. Here's Jeffrey Lurie yesterday. All right, we'll get to that in a second. Jeffrey Lurie talked about the tush push. Now, I'll ask you, does this open up a dangerous door where leagues can over-police the sport?
Well, I think it does. I mean, it says I don't think this. The thing is, though, is that they get to make their own rules. So to me, the NFL owners and the NFL teams get to vote and they get to make their own rules. It's been this way forever. What the dangerous precedent is the fact that people would be by human nature, are such wimps that they literally are going to try to legislate their game because they can't stop.
Right,
something.
and this is why it's dangerous because they knew that they were not going to have enough votes yesterday.
They knew that.
So instead of voting it like America has been born off of, Johnny.
We're not a democracy, even though I keep hearing that.
Instead of voting on it, everybody say aye or nay. He goes, you know what? I don't want to do the vote today. Let's do it another time. Well, that's ridiculous.
The thing is, though, is again, it's what I told you. It's the idea that what they do is when you shut down, when a vote loses, when they bring it up again, it loses almost 100% of the time.
Right.
So they knew if they voted today, the next time they brought up banning the tush push, it would most likely lose again because that's what happens. When you go back and you try to tinker with it and say, well, we're going to change the wording a little bit, they lose. So in my mind, that's what they didn't want to do. They didn't want to take the L yesterday.
Yeah.
They're willing to try to spend a month swinging votes. Here's what I don't understand, though, is the commissioner works for the owners, all right? He's working for the owners. Why in the world is the commissioner so invested in stopping this?
Right, that's what I'm saying. It's dangerous.
But he's an employee of all the owners.
Right. Not some of the owners.
He's paid evenly by all the owners. So every single owner pays the exact same portion of his paycheck.
Well, it goes back to what Bill found yesterday, the Athletic article, where he just personally doesn't like it. So it's going to come down to his own personal wants of not wanting to play anymore, and then he'll try to sway the vote.
So do you think he's the one working the phones, or do you think these teams that are trying to get it done are the ones working the phones?
I think it's both.
Okay.
I mean, I think they're all lobbying for it. Anyone who's anti is going to lobby against it. And as much as Roger Goodell is a voice for the owners, I wouldn't expect him to not have his own opinion.
Okay, but the thing is, though, here's the thing is, I'm paying you, Connor. Let's say everybody's paying you to do something. And then you're just going to take one side. Half the staff here feels one way.
Yeah.
Half the staff feels another. And the owner's paying you to do the right thing. And you're not taking into account the majority position. You're trying to swing the minority position to being the majority.
Yeah, well, if I think the minority position is right and I believe in my principles, then I probably would try and do that. I mean, yes, the owners pay him, but he's not just this, and a lot of people think he is. He can't be expected to just be this complete empty suit all the time, never has an opinion robot that just runs the NFL.
Right, but I just, again, you bring up, principles. There's no principles to this.
There is no principle.
He just doesn't like the play. There are some guys that are just basing it off of, I just don't like it. It's not a football play. What is that?
That's Mike's number one argument. That's what Mike comes with. Well, it's not a football play. It is. Well, it's a rugby play. No, it's not. There is no component of that play that is in any way rugby. Go ask Jordan Mailata.
Yeah, he's talked about it.
Who's a professional rugby player.
He has talked about it. That has nothing to do with the sport of rugby.
And I hear people on these television shows, radio shows going, well, it's a rugby play. No, it's not.
No, it's not.
It's nothing like rugby. So the arguments are weak. They're very weak.
All right, coming up next, you'll hear from Eagles owner Jeffrey Lurie on this. And then also, we open up our second topic of the day as the oak continues to grow.
The oak.
I said it yesterday. I'm going to hate every team that votes for the banning of the play.
Well, you're gonna end up hating 2/3 of the league then, maybe.
Good. More hate is good. John has a question about today's sports hate. It is Kincade and Salciunas. We'll get into that as well here on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Tabling the Tush Push conversation. I'm Connor Thomas, and the conversation on the Tush Push has been tabled at the NFL owners' meetings, not making it to a vote yesterday. That means that they will readdress this at a future date, probably in the coming months. Nick Sirianni met with the media yesterday and talked about his defense of the play.
I know what the data says, and I know how we coach it, and we don't coach a push play any different than we coach a quarterback sneak play. So that play's been in for a very long time. There's probably enough data on that play to get information from.
It seems like logic is all on one side of the argument, but the Eagles aren't out of the woods yet on the play's future. For the time being, there's no ban. We'll keep you updated as the offseason continues. The Phillies take on the Rockies tonight, 6:45 p.m. first pitch. Their first night game of the year. Zach Wheeler takes the mound against Kyle Freeland. Sixers lost to the Knicks 105-91 last night. They are off tonight. Flyers still off until this Sunday. We'll talk to Adam Schefter of ESPN coming up at 7:55. This update is brought to you by Rapid Radios. Their instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage. For a limited time, go to rapidradios.com now for 60% off and free UPS shipping. Add code radio and get an extra 5% off. I'm Connor Thomas for the home of the 76ers and Flyers, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Vacation? Business trip?
on this Wednesday morning here on 97.5 The Fanatic. All right, so the league meeting's going on. The vote for the Tush Push was tabled so that Roger Goodell and his minions can find a way to ban the Tush Push or find a way to have it policed in some way.
Yes.
And regardless of how this plays out, I'm going to still be upset that this is happening. Like, let's say they don't get enough votes.
I don't believe they're going to.
I'm still upset that Roger Goodell, who is, to your point, supposed to be the commissioner of all owners,
Correct.
is not allowing his own personal opinion, his own personal bias to try to sway the vote. That's horrible.
Okay, and I thank TJ for this one here. Let me just get exactly his wording. Connor, where you brought up a thing, and I thought it was correct. If it was still his opinion and his thing, he should be clamoring for it. He said, John, if you go check the charter of the commissioner of the NFL, that is not his role. His role is not to set precedent. His role is not to rule on those things. His role is to just facilitate the process of the evaluation. He is not supposed to be inserting himself into this with an agenda.
So that makes it even worse.
He's supposed to be the one that just facilitates the process. So if people wanted to redo the wording yesterday, his role would be, that makes sense. We'll put it off, and then we'll talk about it in May. But he is not supposed to be having an opinion that then I'm with one side in this argument.
And
That's
it could sway the discussion.
Except when he sits in judgment, when he is set to rule, he rules on some suspensions and things like that, and that rule was even taken away from him. They even took that away from the commissioner. So I agreed with what Connor was saying. I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. If he has a strong opinion on something, push it. The commissioner is not supposed to be doing that.
And again, his strong opinion was, I just don't like it.
That's
horrible.
He's supposed to be facilitating the process. He is allowed to offer opinion on things, but he is not supposed to be pushing an agenda, pushing the vote.
And to me, this is pushing if you are tabling the vote to try to get more votes in a month.
I disagree with that because they didn't vote. If they voted and then he said, well, we're going to vote again in May and we're going to do another wording of it, I get it.
Yeah, but if he knew the result, that's what's tabling the discussion.
Yeah, but that's the idea of if the people know they're not. This happens in voting. In government, this happens all the time.
Yeah.
If somebody is floating a bill or something and they know they don't have the votes, they will not bring it to the floor.
Right.
Until they think they have enough support that it's at least close. Or if they're just trying to get people on the record to say they voted against this. So that's very common that they would.
Well, this isn't legislation of a country. This is legislation of a sport because they can't stop a play.
And football, like America, is not a democracy.
Jeffrey Lurie yesterday was obviously, he spoke for a long time. And this is a bit of a longer clip, but here he is making his statement on the Tush Push.
The Tush Push, they probably will be discussing it in May, so we have to be prepared for every result. I think for everybody, including myself especially, health and safety is the most important thing when evaluating any play. We've been very open to whatever data exists on the Tush Push. There's just been no data that shows that it isn't a very, very safe play. If it weren't, we wouldn't be pushing the Tush Push. But first of all, it's a precision play. It's very practiced. We devote a lot of resources to the Tush Push. We think we have an unusual use of personnel because we have a quarterback that can squat over 600 pounds and an offensive line that's filled with all-pro players. And that combination with incredible detailed coaching with Coach Stoutland has created a play we can be very successful at. There's other ways of gaining that half yard, that yard. There's quarterback sneaks, other types, but we've been very, very good at it. It's a play that's available to every other team in the league. I think it hasn't been used more than 5 times by almost every team in the league. Buffalo is an exception. And the usage rate has gone down over the last year dramatically in the league. We're still very good at it. We're not as good as we were the year before. So for all of us that have followed NFL football over the decades, there's an ebb and flow to offense and defense. And typically one of the great things about professional football is that defenses adjust to offenses and offenses adjust to defenses every year. When we won the Super Bowl a few years ago, we really banked on the RPOs and were very, very successful. It didn't take long for defenses to adapt to the RPOs, and if you notice, we weren't as successful and we stopped using it nearly as much. As the passing game becomes more explosive, you see more styles of defense to prevent explosive plays. That opens up the running game, so the value maybe becomes more where there's an effective run game in order to balance against defending explosive pass games. So there's an ebb and flow, and I don't ever remember a play being banned because a single team or a few teams were running it effectively. So it's part of what I think, I personally and I think most of us love about football is it's a chess match. Let the chess match play out. If for any reason it does get banned, we will try to be the very best at short yardage situations. We've got a lot of ideas there, but I think it's a credit to using our personnel in a way. There aren't that many teams that have 600-pound squat quarterbacks and that offensive line. So if it were any injury concern, I would be concerned.
I love that, man. That entire answer.
Jeffrey Lurie did not waste. There was not 1 second of word salad.
No.
And it was perfect. It was perfect. Like that was a perfect answer. And to me, it shows you why the man is a billionaire.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's successful because he's smart. And that was really smart because there is no objection to what he said.
And that's the thing. Like, I need that to be played to Roger Goodell and every team that was thinking about on the fence or is definitely on the side of banning the play. When you hear that, where was there a lie detected? Where was there anything wrong? The only thing that Jeffrey Lurie said that kind of proves the people's point is nobody's been able to find a way to stop it.
Yes.
And so what, you're going to take that out of the league because nobody can stop a play?
There is, for all the people that are trying to, argue on the side of stopping this play, Jeffrey Lurie just pantsed you.
Yes, for 2.5 minutes.
He pantsed you. There's nothing that you can factually, all you're going to get into is your feelings. It just doesn't look right. I heard Mike and Bill yesterday again. Mike Missanelli, a wise arguer of sports, that he has a PhD in it. I just don't like the look of it. You Eagles fans only like it because it supports the Eagles. Bullcrap, Mike. 18 teams were reportedly, according to NFL Network, on the same side as the Eagles.
Right.
So those fan bases don't give a damn about it, or those teams don't give a damn about it because they're Eagles. It's because the arguments against it are weak.
And you even heard Jeffrey Lurie say, like, they're weak. This is not hypocrisy, right? Sean McDermott, once more, I'm not afraid to keep on saying his name. I don't give a damn that he's a local guy. Sean McDermott
oh, yes, he's local.
Is a hypocrite because he said he wants it banned because of the risk of injury, despite there being 0 injuries associated with the tush push. He talks about posture and it's the risk. We don't want somebody to get hurt just to ban the play. Well, then why do you use it as much as you do? Jeffrey Lurie in that clip says, hey, if there was an injury risk, which there is not, we would not run it. Why would we put our players at risk? Like you heard Jeffrey Lurie say it. So if Sean McDermott believes there's actually injury risk, then why is he on the record saying that if it's not banned, they will still use it next year? That is hypocrisy. Jeffrey Lurie says, hey, I got assets. Jeffrey Lurie, out of his pocket, spends millions of dollars. Left tackle, left guard, center, right guard, right tackle, quarterback, the tight end who's pushing the tush, running back who's pushing the tush. He spends all the money on those players involved. Do you think he would want to risk any of his investments?
No.
Of course not.
It's the biggest investment that he's got. It's so funny to me that the arguments that break down on this because people can't just admit that they're little bees.
It's just because of that.
They can't. They just can't admit it.
So here's the deal. Coming up next, we'll check our text line for the first time this morning. Our first question was, does this open up a dangerous door where leagues can over-police their sports? Because the commissioner himself is on the record saying he doesn't like the play, and now they're tabling this vote to try to maybe sway more opinions in a month from now. But there's another topic we're going to get into, and it's about hate. Because you guys know me, I'm good with hating. Weird hates. Connor points out all the time. I have very strange hates. Have our hates changed recently? is a question that John Kincade has. We'll get into that coming up next. A lot of it's generational, and a lot of it is current events related. It's Kincade and Salciunas on this Wednesday morning, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Tyrone Johnson.
How are we so far? Outside of Ojulari, I don't believe.
Shefty Wednesday morning. Adam Schefter is going to be joining us coming up at 7:55. We'll play some audio from him coming up to start the 7 o'clock hour because he was on ESPN yesterday, obviously talking about the Tush push, and it doesn't sound good for the future of a play that's just successful. No injury risk. Football play. Who cares how you think it looks?
I don't like the look of it.
It's just successful.
Doesn't look like the look of it.
That's all it is. It's successful, and people want to get rid of it.
Correct.
And I don't get it. And again, Jeffrey Lurie, in that clip we played for you last segment, said, look, every team can run it. It's just like the torpedo bats. Any team can use them.
Yes.
And so what? You're just going to legislate it just to legislate it? Because that's what it seems like at this point. All right, so our secondary topic, we'll check our text line here momentarily, is about sports hate and who we hate these days. And you kind of heard me talking about this yesterday, which made you think about this topic.
Well, you got into the whole discussion about yesterday, and you're like, okay, whoever votes to ban the tush push, you're now going to hate those teams.
Yes.
I believe, knowing you, and it's something just in your DNA, you can get a sports hate or just an entertainment hate or something for people for just the strangest reasons.
Yes.
And it comes out of nowhere. And it's very uncharacteristic of you, the people you know.
Oh, yeah.
But in sports, people you don't know.
People.
But people you don't know, holy gosh, you have more hate lists than almost anyone I know.
Yeah, I'm not afraid.
And you've got that.
Yeah.
I'm looking at it as this, though, is the idea that to me, I'm going, wait a minute here. You're going to keep this big list.
Yes.
This list is, I've heard your list before, like with football. And for you, the list was hating the Giants.
Yes.
And I get
over the Cowboys.
I get it, hating it over the Cowboys.
Because growing up, I'm 31. So growing up, the Eagles would beat the Giants, and then the Giants would win Super Bowls. And that would bother me. Like, it was jealousy.
And it's like, but you always would say, but for the Cowboys have been nothing.
I was bred to hate the Cowboys. My life experiences have made me hate the Giants.
Okay, well, the Cowboys
like, I had the kid peeing on the star, right? T-shirt my dad got. I had a shirt.
That's good fathering.
I had a shirt that said, I support two teams, the Eagles and whoever kicks the Cowboys' ass. Like, those were Ocean City Boardwalk T-shirts that I got. So I was born and raised to hate the Cowboys, but my life experiences have led me to hate the New York Giants more because I saw them win 2 Super Bowls. Now in recent years, they're totally irrelevant, but the Cowboys have been irrelevant my whole life.
But the Cowboys have been much more relevant since the Giants won their last Super Bowl.
That's because the media wants them to be relevant.
No, but they've been much more. They've been a much better team.
Yes,
they've had how many double-digit win seasons have they had? They've been much more in the mix. I want to know, though, is that how much of your, like, to me, teams don't, for me, teams that I hate don't move on and off. But you're saying you got all these new teams on there. Like for me, in basketball, it's just the Celtics.
Interesting.
It's just the Celtics.
Wait, you can't update your hate list?
I mean, to me, if you're talking about hate, it has to be long-standing. Like, there has to be some, like the Commodes. I don't hate the Redskins, Commanders, whatever football team. I don't hate them. I'm almost amused at the way that they've been cocky.
Okay.
This offseason.
But John, I did not hate the San Francisco 49ers until 2022.
Okay, the San Francisco.
And now, like, I root for their failure.
I absolutely will root for their failure.
I am loving this offseason where they are collapsing. I take great joy in this.
I love it nothing more, but mine comes from Shanahan. Mine comes from personally knowing the man and being a neighbor of his, and I know he's a jackass.
Right.
So I have an agenda. I can't stand him. He's a jerk.
Yeah, but you know what? Agenda.
And that's it. But the thing is, that doesn't make me, like, hate the 49ers.
I will follow Deebo Samuel to the Commanders and hate him with the Commanders.
Now, here's the thing. I can sports hate. I can just hate Shanahan. I can sports hate Deebo Samuel.
Yeah.
And I will because he's a fraud. Now he's doing the mental illness thing. Oh, everybody's got to worry about their mental sanity and everything.
Ben Simmons did that same thing.
When he was on top, he was literally mocking other people.
Yeah, it's disrespectful.
Trying to do that. So I think he's a clown. But I can do that. But for teams, I don't. Like, for teams, my teams don't. It has to be like, there have to be like punch, a bunch of them. I hate the Mets. But it was from being a young man in my early 20s when the Mets were the Mets that were winning the World Series.
Yeah, I hate the Mets. I hate the Mets more than the Braves.
My Mets hate goes back to Gary Carter and Keith Hernandez and all of them, and I couldn't stand them. Got to know Gary Carter a little bit later on in life and really liked him.
I
really liked him. He's a good man before he died. But it's the idea is that for teams, it takes a lot more to move the needle for me on teams.
See, I'm going to root against Sean McDermott regardless of where he goes from here on out.
No. That Sean McDermott, yes. The Bills. Like, to me,
yeah, but he's the head coach of the Bills, so bleep the Bills.
Yeah, but to me, I want
to rip the word.
To me,
F the Bills, man.
I look at the Bills fan base as like one of the most utmost respect fan bases that I have in sports. I can't hate the Bills.
No, I'm not ripping the Bills fans except for the people that were in my mention saying we don't do the tush push. Yes, you do, you frauds.
But the whole thing is you hate teams because of the actions of a few.
Yes.
I hate the person's actions. To me, I think the Bills fan base, and I told you before, and I was rooting for it. Bills Eagles Super Bowl down in New Orleans.
Oh, it would have been great.
No, they wouldn't. They haven't invented enough beers.
Right.
They have not. There would not have been enough.
And
kegs.
you know what? At the time, I was rooting for it too. Before I found out that Sean McDermott was a hypocrite because they ran the tush push 5 times against the Chiefs, and because they didn't win, now all of a sudden he wants it banned like a little baby.
So Connor, where do you tend to fall? Do you tend to? Is it more players? Because to me, it's players. It's individuals. It doesn't tend to be teams.
Yeah, I don't really have a lot of hate.
You don't.
No.
And the Golden Retriever does not.
I would say there's probably 4 teams in all of sports that I would say that I actually hate, and it's just the rivals. It's the
Mets?
Yep.
Is it Mets? And they haven't really been a rival.
Well, I mean, remember,
They really haven't been, though. I mean, if the
our childhood was like the 06, 7, 8.
was a big
Right.
one, yeah.
Yeah. Mets, Cowboys, Penguins, Celtics. Those are like the only 4 teams that I will never be able to stand.
Like Andrew's going to add 14 or 16 teams to the list.
Yeah, my list. I need a whole damn scroll. All right.
I mean, you're honestly, you're going to be Ted Kaczynski by the time this thing is done.
and that's fine.
I love our teams. I don't have to hate the other teams.
No,
I
it's-
let my love overpower the hate.
Now it's funny.
Connor Summer of Love's coming up.
I told John this yesterday after we recorded the promo when we started talking about this discussion. Last year, I was more looking forward to the Eagles, or 2 seasons ago, the Eagles-Niners game than any Eagles-Cowboys game, than any Eagles-Giants
I was more
game.
looking forward to that game,
I
too.
had that date circled, week 13, which ended up being a horrible day.
It was terrible. It was
A horrible
rotten
day.
weather, rotten
Right.
game.
But I had that date circled as soon as the schedule came out because I wanted to see the Eagles wipe the floor with the 49ers. Now, unfortunately, it was the opposite. But, yeah, I can come up with hate quickly. If you
really
do
can.
something that pisses me off, you're immediately on the list.
And it's weird because you're not, you don't get to the hate portion. In fact, I think you have a very forgiving soul, a very kind soul with people.
Perfect blood
in your
pressure,
life.
baby. I am cool,
But
calm, and collected.
That's where it's so funny because to me, I bet you there are more people like you out there than I know.
Hell
of.
yeah, man.
But I think overwhelmingly more people are like me.
All right, so coming up next,
this regard.
we'll check our text line for the first time this morning. The tush push discussion, overall reaction, have at it. Does this open up a dangerous door where leagues, commissioners can police the sport just because they don't like something? And when it comes to sports hate, do you only have the original sports hate, the rivalry sports hate? Or does your sports hate grow as you grow? And sometimes teams can come off the list.
Sure.
This day, Sean McDermott
so you
is
do remove them?
If Sean McDermott's not the head coach of the Bills anymore, I don't have the problem with Buffalo.
Yeah, but then he
it's
can go
McDermott.
But then he can go to another team and choke in the playoffs every year.
He could be the defensive coordinator here, and I will not respect him because he's a hypocrite. All right. Also, Adam Schefter talking about the tush push. You'll hear that next. It's Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Pushing off the tush push vote. I'm Connor Thomas, and the conversation on the tush push has been tabled at the NFL owners' meetings, not making it to a vote yesterday. Nick Sirianni met with media from those meetings and talked about his defense of the play.
I know what the data says, and I know how we coach it, and we don't coach a push play any different than we coach a quarterback sneak play. So that play's been in for a very long time. There's probably enough data on that play to get information from.
But the Eagles aren't out of the woods yet. No, the play's future is still in jeopardy. For the time being, there's no ban, but they're going to revisit it later this offseason, so we'll keep you updated as the offseason continues. The Phillies take on the Rockies again tonight at 6:45. Game 2 of that series. Zach Wheeler takes them out against Kyle Freeland. Sixers lost to the Knicks 105-91 last night. They're off tonight, and the Flyers are still off until Saturday, rather. We'll talk to Adam Schefter of ESPN coming up at 7:55. This update's brought to you by Groundworks, your expert for basement waterproofing and foundation repairs since 1997. Book your free inspection at groundworks.com. I'm Connor Thomas for the home of the 76ers and Flyers, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
7:54 here on Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. Coming up to start the 7 o'clock hour, you're going to hear from Adam Schefter as he talked about the Tush push and the unfortunate future of what it seems to be for the Tush push. Schefty's going to join us at 7:55, so an hour from now we'll be able to talk more about it and maybe some of the inner workings of what's going on here, because we saw the report from Jordan Schultz yesterday where there are people that are very vocal about trying to get this banned. And I'll straight up ask Schefty. I know Schefty works for ESPN, but he's got a lot of great connections with the league. Like, how much sway should Roger Goodell have in this? Not could, but should, because he's the commissioner and he does run the sport. But you literally have the duties of the commissioner, and he's going against them.
I thank TJ for sharing it too. He's supposed to facilitate the discussion and make sure it comes to a solution. He's not supposed to be determining the discussion. He's not supposed to be running the discussion.
Right.
I mean, there's a big difference there, and I'm really interested to see how that works out. I mean, look. I also don't believe people are out to get the Eagles. Like, I've heard that they're out to get the Eagles. They just want to. They hate the Eagles. I don't think that's it. I think they hate the tush push because they can't stop it.
They hate the play.
They hate the play that they can't stop. I don't believe it's like, man, we're going to screw over those Philly fans and everything. We can't stand them. Look at the business, what the Eagles did. The Eagles set records.
Yeah, I don't think this is an anti-Philly thing.
The country, whether they want to admit it or not, loved the Eagles last year in big, big numbers. When the Eagles played, eyeballs were all over it.
Yeah, but I don't think the owners care. Well, they do a little bit about, like, the eyes on the sport, but I do think it's anti-Philadelphia Eagles. Like, I do think they look at a team and they're like, they're so good. If the Carolina Panthers ran this play.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. You're saying exactly what I'm saying. It's just I didn't say it well enough then. Because it is anti-Philadelphia Eagles because of what they do.
Right.
It's not
just
anti.
We hate the Eagles for no reason. They hate us because we're good.
Correct.
And I think this is a tough thing for this fan base because this has happened before in sports. Things have been banned for optics. Things have been banned for opinions that are just based on I don't like something or someone's too dominant at it. But frankly, in the history of our lifetime in Philadelphia sports, I can only speak for Andrew and I and our generation, we haven't had a franchise consistently good enough to get anything banned, to be the target on our back team for the league.
I don't remember optics that you say. Rules being changed because of optics.
Well, you got to go back a little bit, but you could argue that the Wilt Chamberlain rules were because one guy could do it, nobody else could.
That wasn't optics.
No,
that was because
pure,
it was
pure dominance.
It was because it was pure dominance.
Okay, so maybe optics is a Trojan horse that holds
Optics,
the
which by the way,
optics is when I hear Mike, and I honestly, and you know, I've listened to Mike forever,
right?
And I think as far as arguing a sports point, Mike Missanelli may be the best. He's one of the best at it that's ever done this job. When I hear him do I just don't like the look of it. Doesn't look like it's it's not a football play. It doesn't look right. When I hear those arguments, I'm like, what happened to my Mike with my arguments? Because Mike Missanelli can dismantle people in a sports argument as well as anybody who's ever done this job.
Right.
And on this one, I don't know. He's letting us down a little bit. He's letting it down.
Letting you
I don't
down.
really like the look of it. It's not a football play.
And by the way, going back to the Chamberlain thing, like, it would have eventually gone up to 10 feet anyway.
It would have eventually.
Especially today's, with today's athletes. I mean, there have been talks in the past about moving up to 12. It's not going to happen, I don't think, but it's legitimately talked about.
Well,
this
3
is
seconds,
just because of one dominant team.
I don't know when 3 seconds in the lane started, when they had to put that in too. But I know that's part of things that people go, okay, that had to change.
And I understand that I understand. This I just don't. All right, what do we have on the text line? Our topics today. Obviously, we're talking about the tush push being tabled. They'll vote again they will vote for the first time in May. Does it open up a dangerous door that the commissioner can sway or can try to police the sport this way when it's just something that they don't like? And also, who do we hate these days? Like, I'm thinking about this for a second. The Eagles lost to the Chiefs in the Super Bowl 2 years ago. They beat the Chiefs back in February. I don't hate the Chiefs.
And they beat him in 23.
Yeah, I don't have that hate toward the Chiefs. I don't have that vitriol toward the Chiefs.
No, I really don't like. To me, I don't hate the Chiefs. I hated the overexposure of the Chiefs.
Yeah,
but I didn't blame them for it. You know what I mean? I don't
Right.
blame them. It's what the media grabs onto.
Right.
If I saw one more Taylor Swift thing, I was going to puke. I really was.
But the point is, like, I don't just hate because a team beats my team or something. No, there's a lot of circumstances that go into my odd hates.
Yeah,
All
like
right,
which
you
way
do
the
have
wind's
odd hates.
blowing.
Like you hate, all the Seans.
Sean McVay.
Well, I know you hate the boy genius,
and it wasn't his fault.
You hate New Orleans Sean
Payton.
Sean Payton.
Well, because he's a coward.
You don't like him. Of Newtown Square, Pennsylvania.
He's a coward.
Sean Payton.
He ran that Saints team to the ground. Said, "You know what? I'm going to retire, but I'm going to take the Cowboys job in 2 years." Oh wait, the Cowboys job's unavailable. I'm going to go to Denver.
I mean, it's okay. It's so funny. Your hate.
Yeah.
I chuckle at them.
Joe Madden ruined baseball. Craig Counsell getting paid more than players to do what? I don't know. There's a lot of things that I don't like, and they reach a hate list.
I mean,
what do
you
we
really
have on the
get to
text line, Connor?
All right, so Matt from Marlton, who's an alumnus of my high school, Rancocas Valley, so shout out RV, says influential people who have power push the agenda that fits what they want rather than the good of all. It's naive to expect anything different.
Wait a minute. It's naive to expect people to not be professional? No. I expect people to be professional.
Especially the commissioner of a sport.
I expect the commissioner of a sport to be a professional and to conduct himself. It's called ethics. I expect people. No, it's not naive to expect people to have ethics.
Now, to his
it's
point,
not naive to expect people to conduct themselves like professionals.
But to his point, John, not every commissioner is ethical. I mean,
No, I got that, but
Rob Manfred's mishandling of the Astros saga, calling the World Series trophy a thing that people play 162 games for, and then
What did he call it? Piece of tin or something?
just a piece of metal.
A piece of metal.
We're arguing over a piece of metal. That is the commissioner of Major League Baseball.
That's
saying
bad. I don't expect that, though. I really do. And it is by the way, a problem that I've got. I expect people to treat me the way I treat them.
Yeah.
I expect people to conduct, and I get disappointed all the time. But no, you should expect people to conduct themselves like professionals with ethics.
I think you're considering your standard. I think you're misunderstanding what he's saying. Going in with the assumption that they're going to be, right? I think the commissioner should be unbiased. They should be the voice of the owners. They should not have their opinions out there. But I don't go into a conversation about the commissioner of any given sport and think, yeah, they don't have any biases here. I expect them to be, but I don't think that they're going to be. That's the expectation.
See, now the funny thing
position.
is that's where we're different. I assume good and ethical till proven otherwise. You go in skeptical that someone's going to be ethical.
Well, if they listen, Roger Goodell has plenty against him to the point where I should be skeptical. So does Gary Bettman. So does Adam Silver. So does Rob Manfred. Right? When commissioners are around long enough.
Bettman's doing an okay job.
Oh God, I wouldn't hire Bettman on the dog poop walking app.
What is he doing that's killing the
He
sport?
is terrible.
What is he doing?
He's terrible.
What is he doing that's killing the sport?
A buffoon. He took them off of national television.
Well, that doesn't
took
help.
the league off of national television and put them on the Outdoor Life Network.
See what I mean?
Took away 12 years of whatever national television. The guy's a buffoon, absolute clown show.
When I think commissioner in modern sports, I think slimy. So this doesn't surprise me. I don't know if that's fair or not, but that is my personal gut
they're
opinion.
doing it for the owners.
Okay.
But unfortunately, this is not all owners agree with this.
Sure.
So Shefty's going to be joining us coming up at 7:55 yesterday on ESPN. It was being played on the overnights and everything. Here was Shefty talking about the status of the Tush push.
Despite all those voices, the most important voice belongs to Roger Goodell. And the NFL commissioner told reporters this afternoon that he had some hesitation. You can read between the lines of what he was saying. Conversations are going to continue. He said there was no actual injury data, but that they were trying to be proactive and get ahead from a player being injured in this particular play. He said that they were interested in going back to the way the rule was pre-2004 when players were not allowed to push players the way the Eagles have done so masterfully in recent years with the play now known as the Tush push. And so conversations will continue at the league meetings in May in Minneapolis. But the fact that this was tabled and not rejected today tells you that there's a real chance that we've seen the last of the tush push, and your Philadelphia Eagles are going to have to find a different play on 3rd and short, 4th and short, goal line plays to get the ball in the end zone, because there's a real possibility that the tush push has seen its final days.
When Shefty says that, that's troublesome.
Yeah,
That means he's talking to enough people.
Right. Because they're going to reword it. They know they wouldn't get it passed on just getting rid of the tush push. So they're going to reword this thing so it's something along the lines of maybe you can't line up certain people
3 guys behind.
right, whatever it is. They're going to tweak this. I have every confidence though that the Eagles coaching staff can find a way to
they'll figure it out. But it's still it's the principle of this that's pissing me off. Like, all right, you can't stop us, so we're just gonna get rid of it. They'll have instead of Dallas Goedert or whoever the tight end is right behind Jalen Hurts, they'll have to be 5 yards off, or they'll have to originally line up where they typically line up and then swing around to do the push.
Well, they can't say they have to be 5 yards off because you'd have to redesign every play, right?
Well, no,
you'd have to if you ban on a tush push. Someone has to be 5 yards behind the quarterback, then that would you could never have a play where somebody was not 5 yards behind the quarterback.
Yeah, victory formation is dead at that point.
Yeah.
You can't do that. So like there's all these weird things. It's like yesterday with Bill and Mike were talking about the spiking of the football, like the downing the football.
Yeah.
I've always complained about that. I don't think that should be a legal play. I don't think you should be able to do that because if you do it during the game, it's intentional grounding.
Yeah, you're right.
But if you do it when
behind the line of scrimmage.
But if you spike the football, it's I'm stopping the clock here. It's not right. Like I think there are discrepancies in the rules that should be investigated.
And they will
be looked into.
Well, I don't even care about that. Like I get
but I mean it's like but they there's rules that matter and there's rules that don't.
Right.
They ignore that one. Completely.
But this one they'll try to get rid of because literally just nobody can stop it.
Correct.
And that's wrong. So we'll continue to check our text line on today's discussion, 610-632-0975. Who are you hating these days? Is it just the OGs? Or do you get new hate year in and year out? I do.
I don't know how you keep track of it.
You say the name and I'll tell you if I hate him or not. It's pretty easy for me. It's what my immediate reaction is. Is it visceral or is it that guy's cool? You give me Sean McDermott, visceral reaction at this point.
He's such a hate the face right now.
He's a hypocrite.
Such a weasel.
All right, come up next. We're going to play a game. We're going to come up with other ridiculous proposals of banning certain things in sports to try and prove the point of how dumb this all is. All right, and there's one that comes to my mind right away. So I want to see what you guys come up with, Connor and John. Something that you would ban in sports to try to prove the point that this is dumb. It's Kincade and Salciunas on this Wednesday morning, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Mike Missanelli, Bill Colarulo, and Ray Dunn. They have a lot to say.
back to our text messages here momentarily, but I want to propose some new bands with you guys to try to show kind of not the equivalent of what's going on here with the banning of the tush push, but to try to just kind of make the point. And the first thing that came to my mind, and you and I kind of talked about it yesterday in post-show headlines, which made me think about this, Johnny. Post-show headlines. Check out our YouTube
We're
feed.
enjoying doing that.
It's a lot of fun. By the way, you can, if you don't know, you can watch the show, us live, here right now on YouTube. So hi to our YouTube audience.
We appreciate you.
And if you're...
Often copied, never duplicate.
Exactly. And if you're listening at home and you go, wait a minute, I can watch the show? Yeah, feel free. Go to Kincade Salciunas on YouTube on the Fanatic page.
We actually have a great comment from the YouTube page for later when we get back to the text line.
I like
That's
this.
good.
All right, this is good. But yesterday during post-show headlines, which we also do on our YouTube feed, so subscribe, we appreciate it. We talked about home field advantages because the Phillies put up that stupid barrier for the opposing team's bullpen.
Really don't like it.
And one of the things about home field advantages in baseball is different dimensions. Outfields are different. Porches are different.
I love that part of the sport.
Yeah, because it's different.
And I think it's one of the reasons why people enjoy so much baseball more than I just had this in one of our business to sports segments that were for Pico. More people, and it's not close, travel to another city to watch their baseball team play than any other sport.
That's cool.
And it's not close.
Because they want to see different ballparks.
More people go than in baseball than go to NFL.
Yeah.
More than go NBA, than go NHL. It is the sport that people travel to. Now, part of that is summer.
Yeah,
people have time off.
And part of it is the historic nature of fields like Wrigley and Fenway.
But when you go to these stadiums, what do you end up doing? You end up your eyes just jetting everywhere. You're like, okay, that's different than Citizen Bank Park.
Yeah.
God, I wish you're walking around the concourses. I wish our team had this.
I've told you the story. I went to Wrigley with my mom, my dad, and Christy. We were dating at the time. I bought the tickets for everyone. It was a fun event for us to go to. And I didn't realize that John Lester had a perfect game into the seventh inning. I was so enamored by looking at Wrigley and thinking about the history and walking around. And then all of a sudden, John Lester gave up a hit, and there was a standing ovation. I was like, what was that? He had a perfect game in the seventh inning. I had no idea.
Well, also because you don't talk about it.
Exactly.
Do you like the I like the baseball stadiums and it's just a personal preference, that I'm not getting blared popular music between innings.
Yeah.
I like the organ.
Yeah.
I love the hockey stadiums where literally you're being entertained by the organ during stoppages in play. The organist is playing stuff, not there's blaring music in your ear. You're
still going to get it. You get it at Citizens Bank Park, but yeah.
No, even a face-off. I just don't understand why you got to there used to be an organist, and they have one. They have a guy up there who can do it, but they've got to blare music
for the kids, Johnny.
Yeah, it's kids.
So one of these proposed bans, just to try to make the equivalent of banning the tush push, would be to not have individual original baseball fields. Everything has to be the same. Because here's the deal. You can make a field any way you want as long as it's 90 feet, base paths, 60 feet, 6 inches, right? You can make your field any sort of way.
Right.
The Yankees, how many times can we talk about how that's a home run in any other, it's not a home run in any other ballpark?
Exactly.
It's just the Yankees where that's a home run at. The Red Sox have a thing called the Green Monster in left field. You can design a field any way you want in Major League Baseball, which sometimes helps or hurts teams.
Like Houston with that stupid hill that they used to have in center field.
Right. I like the hill.
I know. I couldn't stand it because it was and they finally just were like, this is an injury risk.
But you know what?
It used to be there, though, in old-time baseball. They used to have stuff like that.
Now, when it comes to the tush push, any team can run it, right? Any team that goes to Yankee Stadium can try to hit a home run to right field.
Sure.
It's just some teams are built for the field. The Yankees are built for the field. The Diamondbacks are built for their stadium where the ball does not fly as well as other fields. So what I'm trying to say is, because the tush push, the Eagles are built to run the tush push. Great offensive line and a quarterback that squats 600 pounds. That's why it works for them. If that's going to get banned, then you should ban having original baseball fields.
The CJ, one of our listeners, and appreciate CJ saying, John, on Connor's point before, there was aesthetically. That was one of the arguments that people were making about stopping the shift in baseball.
Yeah. They didn't like
the aesthetics of it.
Yeah.
I'm like, it was frickin' strategy.
Yeah.
It's a strategy. It's a strategy that worked for teams. It's a strategy that but we don't like that. We're going to just change that.
You got to remember, fans don't see the sport the way sports see themselves, right? Leagues are entertainment products more than anything else. We want to win. The league wants to make money, and it's a different conflicting interest. So when sports see things that they're like, that's not as entertaining, they may make a sport less fair to be more interesting. And we have seen that before. Like, the shift is one of those. It's changing the game to help certain teams or certain players, and not any specifically, but it's better for the watching experience in the league's opinion, and they will change stuff just to change the sport that way.
But the thing is, I don't think the shift is what got people from not watching baseball. It was the 4-hour game in August.
I think it was the 4-hour game.
And
I do not believe it was the shift.
And I do believe the pitch clock has really helped the sport of baseball.
I
agree.
I remember people telling me, I was doing cartwheels with it. Well, no, I couldn't do one this morning. I'd be down on the floor crumpled. But would be the idea of the pitch clock. When I heard they were going to do that, I was like, oh, God, hallelujah.
Yeah, I love it.
I've waited for it
As
forever.
I'm a baseball truther, and yet I love it.
How about stay in the batter's box, too?
Yeah.
The rules. Stay in the batter's box. None of this. No more Garcia Parra.
He's always the first
doing
one we can all think
doing
of.
his OCD thing, which I saw him doing at Georgia Tech. This OCD crap, and then everybody had to copy it.
Right, exactly.
Like, try to do it. The games were incessant.
All right.
And then when they did it, it paid off, and it is paid off for baseball.
What would a proposed ban be for you that's kind of like the equivalent of trying to ban the tush play?
How about banning fans distracting foul shooters? No fans from stadium in your home field.
Yeah.
In your home court. You're not allowed to distract.
No bricking for chicken.
No bricking for chicken. No organists getting involved in it.
The big
None of the hand
paddles.
clappers. What are they called?
Yeah.
Ban field goals. Ban field goals from football. It's a boring play. It's not a football play.
It's a boring play. It's not a football play. And, oh, by the way, some teams are better at it than others.
Yes,
and
that's right.
And, oh, by the way, some climates.
Yes.
It's warmer in Florida,
and
right?
Easier
Doesn't
in a
the
dome.
ball fly
and
further?
It's easier in a dome.
That's a good one, Johnny.
Dome teams have an inherent advantage.
Yeah, they do.
To do that.
Connor, do you have a ridiculous proposed ban that's kind of the equivalent of this?
Steph Curry, you can't shoot threes anymore, buddy.
Steph Curry's
You're
not
too
allowed
good.
to. And Nikola Jokic can't play basketball
He
anymore.
can't bring the ball up the court.
Nikola
He's not
Jokic,
allowed
60
to. He's a
points
center.
yesterday. Ridiculous. All right, coming up next, we'll put the Tush Push discussion on hold for a few minutes. We'll check our text line on it. Don't worry. You all know how upset I'd be if Dallas Goedert is no longer on the Eagles. Well, John Kincade is going to try and help me out.
No, I'm going to prove the point 100%.
Wow.
There's your warning.
You'll hear that next. Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
No vote on the Tush Push. I'm Connor Thomas, and the Tush Push did not go up to a league vote yesterday on whether or not the play would be banned at the owners' meetings. They tabled the discussion for a later date. Nick Sirianni did meet with the media yesterday morning and defended the play once more.
The tush push, they probably will be
I know what the data says, and I know how we coach it, and we don't coach a push play any different than we coach a quarterback sneak play. So that play's been in for a very long time. There's probably enough data on that play to get information from.
But the Eagles aren't out of the woods yet on it. They're going to revisit the conversation later this offseason. It may be banned before the season starts, so we'll keep you updated on that news as it continues. The Phillies take on the Rockies tonight, 6:45. Zach Wheeler takes the mound against Kyle Freeland. Sixers lost to the Knicks 105-91 last night. They're off tonight. Flyers are still off until this Saturday. We'll talk to Adam Schefter of ESPN coming up at 7:55. This update's brought to you by Corona. This Thursday, April 3rd from 1 to 3, join Andrew Salciunas and the Fanatic crew at New Deck Tavern in University City for a Philly baseball watch party thanks to Corona. He's got custom 97.5 The Fanatic baseball t-shirts, awesome prizes, and $5 Corona bottles. Go see our boy Chunas tomorrow. I'm Connor Thomas for the home of the 76ers and Flyers, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Philadelphia Sports.
877-879-3775, The Fanatic. All right, Connor, give us a text message and the YouTube comment, and then Johnny is going to not just try to help, but he believes cure me.
I'm going to 100% cure you.
Cure my worry
I am.
of losing Dallas Goedert. But what do we got on the text line and the YouTube comment?
Yeah, so a lot of people checking in on the hate conversation as well.
Yeah, good, because we need more hate.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what the world needs. So Eric from Virginia says...
Sports hate!
Eric from Virginia says, I'm old like John. See, that's
Thank you very
That's
much,
uncalled for.
Old like
Thank you,
John.
Eric.
Jeez.
But while I have my old school hate that team with a 1-star rating, I won't say the name, Celtics, Penguins, like Andrew, my hate can change due to current events as well.
Yeah, I mean, look, current events play a big role in it. Like, I hate Sean McDermott and the Buffalo Bills right now. It's not anything to do with the Bills fans. Sometimes I feel bad for the Bills fans. You know what? I feel even worse for the Bills fans that their head coach is a hypocrite.
You think he's just a kook?
Yeah. I mean, you can't say that you're worried about injury concerns and yet have your player run it. Hypocrisy.
Yeah,
All right.
but like that makes me hate Sean McDermott, not the Bills.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
that
he's
makes
the head
you-
coach of the
that's
Bills. No, but he's the head coach of the Bills. So I
Yeah,
need
but
to-
I mean, like Josh Allen. I'm a huge Josh Allen
yeah,
fan.
but I'm sorry.
Even
Until he is a new head coach, I hope that team loses.
Well, that's okay.
I will root against the Buffalo Bills. It's like the fantasy football. All right, I hope they score 80 points, but they lose every single game because Josh Allen does seem like a good guy.
I was confident the Eagles were winning the Super Bowl no matter who they played. I thought they would have won the Super Bowl easier if they played Buffalo.
And yet they
Than the Chiefs.
beat the crap out of the Chiefs.
Yeah, and going into it, I'm like, man, I'd rather play Buffalo because I thought Buffalo getting to the Super Bowl would have been like the
that
giant
would have been
exhale.
their Super Bowl, right?
Oh, we got there. Then they would have wet the bed.
All right, give us the YouTube comment.
So INS on our YouTube chat checks in.
The
and says,
INS is checking in on us?
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't know what that stands for.
All right.
But they say, I don't mind this because it opens the door for us to protest the next team with something like this. Two can play at that game when it comes to the Tush.
Yeah, and then that's the problem. That's why I said it opens up a bad door. It's a dangerous door to open up where just because you don't like the way it looks or just because it is hard to stop, you're now all of a sudden going to try to ban it. That opens up a dangerous trap door in sports, in my opinion. It really does.
That's not unfair, I guess.
Like the three, are you going to get rid of the 3-point line because guys shoot the three so well?
If there's nothing, there's no sport except hockey with that stupid shootout, which is just idiotic, that decides games and actually awards points. Ties should have been just fine. They added this stupid element.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing like that in all of pro sports that's that stupid is kicking field goals.
Yeah.
Because it's not a football play. It's not.
There's no physicality.
It's a guy who has nothing to do with the game coming into the game and putting points on the board.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and dome teams have a huge advantage.
Absolutely.
In
they
the
do.
kicking game.
Yeah.
And if they get to play the more games you play in a dome, the better accuracy you're going to have a chance to kick long field
and then
goals.
in the same breath, the guys that kick in the dome for their home field, when they go out,
right,
they may have a tough time.
They could,
and
but,
that may be that's hard for them. It's hard for them to kick through it.
But the advantage that they have kicking the majority of their games in domes more than accounts for the disadvantage of the other guys.
Now, hang on, because there's a rule that I need your guys ruling on.
Okay.
When the overtime rules changed, that was directly because of the Bills-Chiefs postseason matchup where the Bills didn't get a chance to possess the football. Do you look at that and say, well, that's against the team in the Chiefs that's just so good at scoring that they changed that rule?
No, I think people just are whiners and don't understand that you played a whole football game. You had a chance to win it. You had a chance to win a game for 4 quarters.
Right.
I hate the fact that everybody has to touch the ball. Like I think that's just it's
especially because your defense has the chance to
your
get
defense
the
has
stop.
a chance to win a game. Your defense has a chance.
Now
to
I'm
stop
okay with it needing to be a touchdown and not being go downfield, kick a field goal, game over.
Oh, well, no, I'd be fine with that.
I'm glad that they got rid of that.
I'd be fine with that.
But I hear what you're saying about that. Everybody gets a chance. All right, here we go. Cure me, Johnny.
You said, I don't want to misquote you, about Dallas Goedert potentially leaving. You said you would be borderline
devastated.
Borderline
devastated.
Okay. And I thought about that because I care about my partner.
Thank you. That's very nice.
And so I decided to do the research because my own eyes and my own ears and my own, like, just a watching of games, I'm thinking to myself, Dallas Goedert is not in any way any of the straw that stirs the drink. What do you always hear about Dallas Goedert that the Eagles have to have him, and when he's out, this is going to hurt them?
He's great at blocking when it comes to run play.
Okay. You always hear about the running game blocking, number one.
Okay.
What if I told you that the Eagles have missed Dallas Goedert in 15 games the last 3 years? I went back the last three seasons.
Not just Saquon.
He's missed him 15 games. So I missed it 2022, 23, and 24. And the Eagles, in those games, the 15 that he missed, the Eagles averaged 179 yards rushing per game. So they averaged more than they averaged. So the Eagles actually are better in the run game in the games he missed over the last 3 seasons than when he was in.
Okay.
So that all of a sudden tells you right there, that's a false narrative. When Dallas Goedert is out,
well, it's not necessarily a false narrative. He is a better run blocker than Grant Calcaterra
but for
EJ
some
Jenkins.
reason, in a 15-game sample,
right? I get what you're saying.
The Eagles rush better when Dallas Goedert's not in the game, not playing. So then you think about, well, in the passing game, you got to have that too. Dallas Goedert, it's almost exactly their average. They did average less in the passing game with him in there, but 179 yards, strangely. Same 15.
Wow.
They averaged 179 rushing, 179 passing in the 15 games he missed. And that is just a little below where a guy like Jalen Hurts is at. So you'd say, okay, well then, but it's his blocking. So do they average more sacks allowed? They do not.
Well, I don't.
They
I
do
don't,
not.
I don't look at sacks for a tight end.
No, but I'm just saying to you is,
regardless,
Jalen doesn't get sacked more when he's out. They pass minusculely less, and they rush better. The average offense when Dallas Goedert misses a game is 358 total yards.
Now, I would be curious.
You know what their record is?
They're good.
Without Dallas Goedert?
2022, they won 14 games.
Without Dallas Goedert, they're 13-2 the last 3 years. Averaging 358 total yards. By the way, in 2024, in the games he missed, averaging 14.4-point victories. In 2022, averaging 13-point victories. They don't miss him. There's no difference in the Eagles when he's out.
Okay.
In fact, they run the ball better when he misses.
Well, I will say,
all 3 seasons.
I'm curious. How much is it when it comes to the running backs? What are the numbers? And that's deep dive.
Yeah, but what I'm saying to you is
Jalen Hurts can run for 70 yards in a game when they're not designed runs.
Okay, well you're basing on that. If like in 20,
I'm not sure. I'm just trying to ask. I wonder.
In 2024, they ran for in this season. Dallas Goedert's missed games. They rushed for 200 yards a game, 200 on average. They won by 14.4 points in those games. They passed for 191. They averaged 391 yards of offense. Last year, they won 2 of the games at the Chiefs versus the Bills, and then they lost that 49er game. Those were the 3 he missed. Mm-hmm. So there was an average in that game of a minus 5.3 points a game. But the year before, 2022, the games he missed, they averaged 440 yards of offense. They averaged 187 rushing, 253 passing, and winning by 13 points. Dallas Goedert, you don't even know he's out of the games. And that's 15.
You seem very if he goes,
no, but I'm saying to you is this. I've heard all these narratives on why you got to have Dallas Goedert here. And there is much like the Tush push, there is zero factual evidence.
Well, does it always have to be statistical? Because I can say, Dallas Goedert is a better overall player than Grant Calcaterra.
Okay,
and I would rather have better overall players than not. It's like my thing with center field, right? I get it. Oh, you can't always have the best players. Oh, I could try. I could try to have better players.
But you could say that. I mean, absolutely. It tells me that the Eagles could do just fine putting in a young tight end.
Well, and I expect them to draft someone.
And that you do not need to extend Dallas Goedert. Because all the things you've been told about Dallas Goedert under the microscope, they don't hold up. Is Dallas Goedert better than Grant Calcaterra? I believe he is.
Yeah.
I believe he is. But the stats don't show it. that the team in any way misses a step when
Yeah,
he's
but
out.
I will say this. There were some moments where he's part of the biggest reasons why they won games, including this year. We talked about the Saints game. We talked the
Saints game was a big play.
The Packers game. The Rams. He had a big game against the Rams in a game that came down to the wire. Who knows what the deal is without Dallas Goedert in those games?
I got to
They
tell you,
had very little offense against the Packers. It took that three stiff arm for him to get into the end zone, which kind of broke that game open.
I never felt they were losing that game.
Which one?
The Packer
Oh, you
playoff
know
game.
how I felt.
I did not think there was any. I mean,
I was getting
you
crushed
got a little
for it.
Packer fear.
I said at halftime
All
the game
last
was.
summer, you
I
were-
said at halftime the game was over. There's receipts.
All last summer, you were afraid of the Packers.
Yeah, for week
until
one.
Until 2 days before the game.
Week one, I thought when the schedule came out, I don't. That has nothing to do with the argument.
Jordan Love stinks.
All
We were
August,
never
you
worried.
thought the Packers
That
were.
has nothing to do with this argument.
No, I'm just saying to you.
Just trying to bring up something.
I'm
but
I'm saying
to try
to
to get
you.
into it got me. It
I'm
has
saying
nothing to
it's
do
the
with the
truth.
argument. Dallas Goedert is one of the biggest reasons why they won the game against the Packers.
I don't believe that. Don't believe it.
You take away his touchdown.
You can't. Then there's another play that scored. I do
What
not
other
believe
play?
it.
They had no offense that game.
Come on.
Wait, you trying to make the music louder over there?
Yeah, I am.
All right, coming up next. That's a good discussion. You keep it going, Connor. We go from Dallas Goedert discussion to Nick Sirianni. The contract. It's going to happen. Jeffrey Lurie made that clear. Question is, how long? And how long do you want it to be? It's Kincade and Salciunas here on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Tyrone Johnson, Ricky Vitalico, and Silvana Kelleher. The best show ever. Smart.
I can't.
I thought about it
Okay,
during the
now
break.
you're just being contrary. Every fact tells you it's not. He has not. It has not hurt him at all when he's
Yeah, but
out.
I could still look at a player and whether or not I think a player is good. And I think in terms of what this offense does, and you're right, the numbers will try to prove your point, but what he does for this offense, I think, is very important.
But
now,
it's not tangible.
I'm not against them drafting a tight end that has his certain skill set.
No, that's fine, but it's not tangible. You're in your feelings.
Yeah.
It's what you feel. It's not tangible. They don't give up more sacks when he's out. They run the ball better when he's out. They pass just slightly less passing per game. Their points per game are actually up when he's out. And that's a 15-game sample. There's nothing to say, well, here is what they definitely miss when he's missing a game. And it's 15 games.
Yeah,
They're
big sample size.
13-2. Another thing.
It's because the Eagles are a good team.
No, I agree.
They're a wagon.
That's
as people
why.
say.
That's why. But it tells you how much of the wagon he is.
Right, I get you.
He's not a big spoke in the wagon.
Still going to be borderline devastated when he's
I
not
can't
here.
believe it.
I don't know. I'm a big Dallas Goedert fan. I think he's very important with this
Hope
offense.
they get you a nice thing
In
again.
terms of what this offense does, I think it's an important part.
Even though the numbers don't show that, though.
I mean, the numbers are still good when he's on the field.
Yes, but the numbers show that he's
It's not,
not
like, it's
missed.
not like he stinks.
The numbers are exactly the same. No, they're actually better in some regards when he's out. Points per game and rushing. They're actually better.
Who are the teams in those games?
Oh, here we go.
All right, Nick
Oh,
Sirianni.
wait, I give you. Giants, Bengals, Jaguars, Panthers, Steelers, Commanders, Cowboys, Chiefs, Bills, 49ers, Colts, Packers, Titans. Giants,
Majority of those teams stink.
No, the majority did
It's a
not.
mixed bag.
It did not.
Nick Sirianni's going to get a contract extension. He's
He
going.
is.
He's going to the final year of his deal. They're not going to let him coach with 1 year left.
It's coming.
Now, here's the question. I remember years ago doing a show with my man Ant, Middays. Would you sign Doug Peterson to a 10-year contract today? And this was before everything went to crap. And I love it. Like 80% of people said, yes, I would sign Doug Peterson to a 10-year contract today.
Did they really?
Oh, yeah.
Like, I mean, it was,
Because they won.
but it was completely like lopsided.
Oh, yeah. Like not even close.
Like, are you talking 80-20?
Yes.
That's incredible.
I'll try to find the old. I'm
I
sure
wouldn't
he
give-
put up a poll, honestly.
but I wouldn't give anybody.
No, I get it. Yeah.
I wouldn't give anybody in any walk of life a 10-year contract.
Right. Now, what would you give Nick Sirianni? Now, this is a fascinating conversation because the guy wins. And
Yes,
the
he
guy
does.
won a Super Bowl.
All he does is win, 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 no matter what.
And let's not act in the year when they won the Super Bowl that we didn't talk about his actions. The Cleveland Browns
being
game.
ridiculous, yes.
All kinds of stuff where it seemed like it was detrimental to the team at the time. And then obviously everything kind of changed because there may have been a meeting at the principal's
The
office.
owner thought it was.
Yeah.
The owner told you that it was detrimental by calling him in.
Now, the good thing with Nick Sirianni is he listens to his bosses, which some people think that's a problem. I listen to my boss.
I try to follow directions.
Yeah.
It's just I've always found it a good strategy in life.
Yeah. Now,
When you're not calling the shots, it's sort of good to follow directions.
right. Now, here's the deal. When we're on the air, we may have an idea of what Scott, our boss, would like us to do, but Scott's not telling me what to say.
No.
Right? So, like, Nick Sirianni listens to Howie Roseman when it comes to a lot of player personnel things, but Howie Roseman didn't tell Nick Sirianni, hey, that Becton guy that we got, I want him to play right tackle. Nick Sirianni said, well, let's give him a shot at guard, and look at what happened.
Like-
He had a tremendous season.
He listened. He responded to it. I worked for Scott when I worked on the network at
Right.
ESPN Radio. And Scott would always have a policy is if you were going to come with a really, really strong opinion on something, because it's a national show.
Yeah.
You were coming with a really, really strong opinion. You were going to criticize something. The producer would invariably line up a guest that would bring a contrary point of view to the table.
Right.
And that was sort of the rule.
Right.
You can have any opinion you want. Come with your fact-based opinions, whatever you want to do. But if you're going to be ripping the NFL or something, there's got to be somebody who has
there to go
that
back.
can have
Yeah.
that can bring a contrary opinion.
So, look, it seems like they clearly have a very good working relationship. Look, they've been to 2 Super Bowls since he's been the
Yes.
head coach. How many years do you give Nick Sirianni?
3.
So one added to the one,
I
so
add
4
three.
years.
He's going into his last year.
Yeah.
I give him a 3-year contract extension, and I pay him amongst the higher paid coaches in the league.
Well, yeah, in terms of finances.
He's going to get paid amongst the higher paid. Will he be the highest paid? Hell no. No. But it will be a great contract for him, more than double his salary, and make sure that he is rewarded for what he's done. But a 3-year guarantee above the 1 year he has.
See, now it's interesting.
And I don't have a qualm in doing that.
My first thought was 4 to make it 5, right?
You go 4 to make it 5.
But here's what's amazing, right? This is where, if anybody has the dark thoughts in the back of their mind, my first thought is, man, what if Patullo stinks?
Correct. What did we find out in 23?
Right. And we found out that Nick Sirianni, without competent coordinators, may not be as great of a head coach.
The Emperor did not have any clothes last year that much. He didn't know how to pull the plane out of a spiral.
Right. And I need my head coach to be able to do that, and he was not able to do that, which is why I thought he should have been fired after the 2023 season.
That's why I'll go 3 years. Unlike the stupid 3-year extension for Joel Embiid, who was hobbling around like the grandmother on the Life Alert commercial that they gave him for no reason.
Yes.
I would not give any more, but I would not give any more than 3.
Because it's interesting. If Patullo stinks,
we could be right back.
We're doing this all over again.
Yeah,
sure we are.
We've been down this path already.
Right, and then they fixed it, and then they win.
Exactly.
But I don't. The thing is, though, is how did they fix it, Connor? If you're in your mind, you're saying, well, then they fix it. How did they fix it?
Howie Roseman fixed it.
Yeah.
But if Howie Roseman's the one who had to sign off on Patullo, right?
Yeah, but
he's also the guy who signed off on the 2 tomato cans you brought in 23 that dragged the plane right into the swamp.
So sometimes good, sometimes bad. That's no reason to move on from a head coach. It's no reason to worry about giving him an extension. Because how many coordinators do you think could have done the job that Kellen Moore did last year? Is it one?
No, I think you could have found 10 guys.
Yeah.
With that kind of talent, you could have found 10 guys around the NFL minimum.
Like Vic Fangio's a different story. Vic Fangio's awesome. Kellen Moore was good.
Right.
He didn't do anything exceptional.
Now the question is available too. I could say, yeah, Ben Johnson would have been great, but he wasn't available. So of the available offensive coordinators, I don't know who would have been better than Kellen Moore.
You don't watch those HGTV type shows, but there's one show where they give you $5,000. And the person will come in and $5,000. They're going to do things in your house to improve it.
Yeah.
And then there's the shows that do the total makeover. Vic Fangio got hired to strip it down to the studs.
Yeah, exactly.
Whereas Kellen Moore came in with the $5,000. Hey, put up some new curtains, a new coat of paint. Let's do this.
And to be clear, I want Sirianni to get his extension.
I do too. You say is 3 good?
Yeah, I'll go with 3.
Connor, 3?
Yeah, I'm good with 3.
All right, we're good with 3.
And it makes it a 4-year deal.
Get Nick 3 more years, please.
Let's hope Kevin Patullo does a good job.
Yeah, get him 1.
Coming up next, Adam Schefter joins us. We can talk to him about the contract extension of Nick Sirianni, the future of Dallas Goedert, and, of course, the future of the Tush push, which is a big topic, the topic of discussion around the NFL. It's Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Still waiting on the Tush push. I'm Connor Thomas, and the conversation on the Tush push is not over, but has been tabled for the time being at the NFL owners' meetings, not making it to a vote yesterday. Nick Sirianni did talk about his defense of the play once again.
I know what the data says, and I know how we coach it, and we don't coach a push play any different than we coach a quarterback sneak play. So that play's been in for a very long time. There's probably enough data on that play to get information from.
But the Eagles aren't out of the woods yet. While it's tabled for the time being, the NFL is going to revisit it later this offseason, so we'll keep you updated as the offseason continues. Still a chance it could be banned before the season starts. The Phillies take on the Rockies tonight, 6:45 p.m. first pitch. Zach Wheeler is on the mound, facing off against Kyle Freeland. Sixers lost to the Knicks 105-91 last night. They are off tonight, and the Flyers are still off until this Saturday. We're going to talk to Adam Schefter of ESPN coming up next. This update's brought to you by AAA Car Care. Save $84 on select sets of Ford Nokian tires at AAA Car Care Centers. Offer ends April 15th. Details at AAA.com/mycar. I'm Connor Thomas for the home of the 76ers and Flyers, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Bill Colarulo.
I would argue
7:54 here on Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic on a Wednesday morning, which means momentarily we are going to be joined by our man Adam Schefter from ESPN to talk about all kinds of stuff. Of course, the biggest topic of conversation around the entire NFL is a play that averages about a yard, Johnny.
Yes.
Which
that
is
nobody
crazy.
can stop.
And that's why they're trying to ban it, because it's too hard to stop. Injury concerns. Lies. It's not a football play. Explain that to me. I don't like the way that it looks. All right, well, now that's just ridiculous.
Well, yeah, it's not. I don't really like how it looks. The whole rugby play, the minute you hear someone say rugby play, say somebody on two fronts. They've got nothing to say on the topic because it's a bullcrap point.
Right.
And two, they've never watched rugby because it's not a rugby play.
Odds are they've never watched rugby.
Nothing
right.
about it is rugby. So that's bottom line. So there you got two things. Just disregard those people. Turn off your listening ears.
Yeah, but here's the problem. Those people are voting against the tush push.
And
those same people.
Because they won't tell you what their real agenda is. And their real agenda is we can't stop it.
All right, and there's 24 teams that may have the real agenda, which is that they can't stop it. And if that's the case, then I can't turn my ears off. If anything, it's just going to make me, I'll have levels of hate. How's that sound?
How about that? Yes.
If there's 24 teams that vote against the tush push, I would hate the Packers more than the Cowboys and Giants and Commanders. Because let's face it, in division, I get it. Gamesmanship. Hey, that's an advantage to them. We play them twice a year. We're not friends with them. We're rivals with them. So we're going to vote for that play to be banned. I respect that more than what the Packers are trying to do, which is just being wussies.
Nate says it here, and we're not getting political, but Nate says it here. He goes, John, everybody in every walk of life votes their agendas.
Yes.
He said, people, why do you think they want to tax the rich? Because they want stuff, and they want the rich to pay for it. And he's like, everybody votes their agenda. Why do you think the rich try to vote for things that don't take away their money?
Right, exactly.
Everybody votes an agenda.
Yeah, tell me the last political debate you watched where
people
said,
don't have an agenda.
Oh, you know what? That changed my opinion.
I learned something today.
All right, Adam Schefter's with us. Let's head to the Comcast Business Hotline, where every day business is a big day. Let Comcast Business help you move forward with what's next. He's brought to us by our friends over at Landis Block. Create your very own jaw-dropping backyard paradise online at landisbc.com. You're listening to 97.5 The Fanatic, WPEN, WPN HD1, Burlington, Philadelphia, Beasley Media Group Station, broadcasting live from the Comcast Business Studio, powering possibilities, where we're joined now by our man from ESPN, Adam Schefter. Shefty, good morning.
Good morning, guys. How are we doing?
We're doing okay. I'm upset with a lot of people from the league that you cover. And I still remember when you joined us weeks ago talking about the tush push, when this first kind of started, you made such a great point. You said, what, is Patrick Mahomes going to be banned because he's the best quarterback in the league? Would Tyreek Hill be banned because he's too fast and nobody can cover him? Unfortunately, Shefty, it seems like that is the reason why the tush push is going to be banned, and it's because nobody can stop it.
It is definitely tracking to be banned right now. Like, you could just read the language or listen to the language from Roger Goodell. And I think that was always, to me, where this was going to go sideways, is you have some teams, and ultimately, in the end, the commissioner usually gets what he wants. Usually gets what he wants with rules. And if he wants that play to go away, and it certainly seems like he does, then it's going to go away.
The commissioner works for whom, Adam?
He works for the owners.
Okay, so he works for the owners. As of yesterday, now I heard NFL Network had said 14. They thought that they had 14 votes against the tush push.
16.
And, well, Jordan 16. Schultz said 16. I don't know. You had 16. Okay, they had 16. So that means he's only representing half of his constituency? He's pushing an agenda for half of his constituency when half the constituency disagrees with him? How does that work?
This is where it's at right now. It's at 16 votes.
That's half the league.
He's going to massage it, and he's going to work the owners, and he's going to get the votes he needs. Like,
why? Why? What is the agenda here for him? And why? And why would he be doing it for half of the owners, not the whole owners?
It's not like that. His job. He works for the owners, and
right?
His job is to represent what he does, what he feels is best for the league.
Now,
I'm just telling you, like, I don't think he wants to play in there. That's my opinion.
Yeah, but he has the thing is that he's pushing an agenda, but he's not pushing it with any facts behind it. There's no facts to back the agenda.
Hold on. I agree, but here's the issue. That's not what we're talking about, John. Okay? There's no actual injury data that says that there are injuries on this particular play. Okay? I got it. Right? But let's look closely at what Roger Goodell said, and let's examine the language. I think there are safety issues being considered with the tush push. We have very little data, but we see the potential risk. We see the potential risk. Somebody could get hurt. It makes a lot of sense to go back to the old rule prohibiting pulling or pushing ball carriers.
So why would they want to have more kick returns in football after telling us just the last year and the last 2 years that was the most dangerous play? So that's why they had to put in new kickoff rules.
John, as you were just saying before I came on, in life people come up with their own rules. They want to make things work for them. They represent their own interests and own agendas. Moving the kickoff to the 35 or the touchback to the 35 introduces more returns.
More player safety issues. So he's arguing player safety on the tush push, which has zero data. Yet he's going to argue that we want more kick returns, where he just told us in his own quotes in the last few years that was a player safety issue and he wanted to make it less dangerous. So in other words, he's a hypocrite.
If you look at the data, the NFL is looking at a projected increase in the return rate from 33% last year to somewhere around 65% this year. So it should double, roughly.
Okay.
And they're looking for more returns, and they're looking for touchbacks to 35. And
because they don't care about player safety, so he's full of crap. His whole stuff on the tush push, which has no data of injury, it proves that it's a full of poop argument.
Again, I'm not going to argue. I'm not going to disagree with you. You're right.
Okay.
I'm just telling you that they move the touchback to the 35. They're trying to increase the return rate. More collisions, more force. You're right. The commissioner, to me, doesn't seem like he wants the tush push. I think he and others think it's a boring play. I think they think it's just a boring play that doesn't belong in the game.
Now, does this open up a dangerous door, though? Because now it's just because of...
I don't like it.
I don't like it, right? That's what it's coming down to, right? I just don't like it. Now, it's a play that works. So... And I think about injury concerns. So you shouldn't throw the ball over the middle of the field because that's one of the dangerous spots. You're throwing a slant route to a small slot receiver that could get his bell rung by safety. That to me is more dangerous than the tush push. But if Roger Goodell thinks that's more entertaining than the tush push, I feel like that's a dangerous door to open up for any sport where the commissioner could say, I don't like the way that it looks, so I'm just going to get rid of it despite it being a successful and strategic play.
Look, you guys are pissed off about it. I got it. I understand. Again, people make rules work for them. They apply what they want to apply. And in this particular case, I believe that there are people in the league that are jealous of the Eagles' success. I believe there are people that can't duplicate the Eagles' success. I believe the commissioner and others don't like the play, and I believe the play is going to go away. I'm not telling you it's right. I'm surprised that it went this way. I did not think that was going to happen. But it gathered up momentum, and I believe those people had the support of the commissioner, and I don't know how he's going to do it, but he's going to find the 8 votes he needs to get to 24. I'm just telling you.
How do you believe? What is the offer teams that seem embedded? We've seen the words this morning. Teams are dug in one report I've seen. Teams are embedded in their belief that it shouldn't be banned. So what is the commissioner going to offer them? Or do something? How do you move somebody off of an opinion that you're going to move 8 teams off of it?
Especially some of these teams that are on the record.
Yeah, where do you move? What does the commissioner offer them?
We're going into a process that I don't have answers to. Okay?
Do you have a theory? I'm not asking you. I'm not asking you.
How about this? How about changing the kickoff rule the last time? And none of the coaches wanted that. And there were numerous coaches that didn't want it. And the coaches went out to play golf at the owners' meetings, and by the time they came back, the rule was passed. How'd that happen?
I'm asking. That's what I mean.
A couple of cocktails.
Is something being offered? Is someone getting their palms greased? Because the whole idea that the commissioner is he's so involved in this issue, this annoys him so much. It clearly is.
No, hold on. And this is not to defend. It's his job to be involved in all these issues. That's his job.
His job is to facilitate it, Adam. His job is not to come with an agenda and then jury rig it so he gets the answer he wants. That's not his job. His job is to be he represents 32 clubs. He doesn't represent 16.
His job is to do. He reports to the owners.
Okay, 16 of them feel his way.
But his job is to do what he believes is in the best interest of the game.
Now,
not what you and I believe, what he believes, okay? So let's be very clear about that. So he believes that play doesn't belong in the game for whatever reasons. Safety, competitive advantage, doesn't like Jeff. I have no idea. He doesn't like it.
Now, will you bring up on I'm a big NFL Live person. I love those shows. Will you bring up the fact that he's a complete hypocrite on this kickoff return thing?
I'll leave that to you, John.
Okay, here's the problem is, Adam, none of you guys are calling him on this. None of you guys.
That's not my job. My job is to present the facts. I have no problem saying that. The league is inviting more collisions by basically moving out the return, but they don't want to. Look, they have data that I haven't seen, John. I can tell you, I had lunch with a team yesterday, an owner and a president. Okay. I'm sitting at lunch, no horse in the race. No.
Okay.
They were talking to me. We're talking about the Tush Push, and they were saying how. They think that they're trying to get out in front of it because there's not a lot of data, because it's not run that much, so you don't know the rate of injury. But they believe that their players are at added risk with the pushing and shoving in there for somebody to get seriously hurt. And before that happens, they're going to get out in front of it and ban the play. This team would have no skin in the game. That's what they said to me. I'm not telling you that.
I got you. But see, Adam, I'm going to tell you, I believe it always was the role of journalism to bring facts to the table and say, well, you're telling me this. Well, then what about this? Why would you be pushing this?
Well,
because that doesn't make sense.
I was not during the press conference yesterday. It started at 4:00,
right?
Which also happened to be the time that NFL Live started. My job is to be on air and
exactly.
And NFL Live. I could not be in that room. And by the way, I hadn't thought about it the way you presented it. So if you had asked me, I could have asked that question yesterday. I would have asked that question.
And I believe you would. I do believe from your quality of your work that you would have if you had the opportunity and that was presented.
Now, you mentioned skin in the game. Obviously, the Buffalo Bills are one of the teams that have skin in the game because Sean McDermott has been one of the more vocal coaches against it. However, they run it the second most. And it's not the Eagles run it 100 times, the Bills run it 2 times. The Bills ran it over 50 times over the last 2 seasons. When it comes to this argument about player safety, and then Sean McDermott will go on the record and is on the record saying if it's not banned, he will use it next season. Mm-hmm. Isn't that hypocrisy? Isn't that hypocritical to say we think it's bad, but we're going to still run it too with our high-priced quarterback, very well-known quarterback, and it's a boring play, blah, blah, blah. If the Bills are on the record saying they would still use it, doesn't that kind of hurt their argument?
Well, if the play is available to be used, you're going to use it. I mean, that's the way it's going to be.
But he's on record saying he's worried about the players' safeties, and then he's going to use it the very first game?
So his players in the locker room are saying, Coach says he cares about our safety, but he really doesn't.
Well, again, couldn't you say that for coaches probably worry about the health and safety of their players, to your point, crossing the middle on a slant route. They probably worry about the health and safety of their players on a kick return. That's an inherently dangerous play, a punt return. These people coming down and trying to take off somebody's head. I'm sure the coach is worried, but they're not going to not apply the play or run the play because that's the sport. I mean, I don't know. Boy, this is a whole philosophical discussion.
damn right it is.
It is.
Now, and that's the way life works sometimes, right? What am I going to tell you?
Real quick before we let you go, because I know you're really busy. Jeffrey Lurie on the record yesterday saying that Nick Sirianni's going to get his contract extension. We're all expecting it. But do you have any idea of maybe terminology? How many years could Nick Sirianni get?
Well, it's going into the last year, right? So John Harbaugh had 1 year left, and the deal went through 28, so 25, 26 years. My guess is they would tack on 3 more years, is my guess.
Okay.
That's
Fair
good.
enough.
I don't think anybody's going to complain about it.
Fair enough. Shefty,
Adam,
listen, man,
thank
we
you, buddy.
appreciate it, and we'll talk to you
Hey,
again
you know
next
what?
week.
I think you guys missed an opportunity to do your show live from the Breakers.
I would have loved it.
So that you could have attended the
Yes.
press conference.
I would have loved to have done it.
I got to say something. I don't know who dropped the ball there, but knowing that the Tush Bush, fine. You know what? Hold on. You guys need to attend the May meeting in Minneapolis.
I'll tell you this.
I'm in.
I'll be
Hold
there
on,
at the Mall
hold
of
on.
America.
Hold on. It's in Minneapolis. It's in May. It's a quiet time on the calendar. The Sixers aren't going to be in the playoffs. Baseball hasn't heated up. I have no idea about the Flyers. Are they playing well or not?
No, they're not.
No, they're out.
They're out. They
Okay.
just fired the coach because he was too mean.
Okay, hold on. So you need something, and you, John, you need to represent the interests of your city and your listeners, and you need to ask the questions they are asking me so the commissioner can answer them at the press conference.
I hope we've got some people listening in the offices. We'll gladly be there. We will gladly be there.
This, by the way, is a layup.
It is a layup.
Damn right, Shefty.
It's a layup.
I love that.
I love it.
We'll send this audio to the Beasley family.
We are sending it right now.
And maybe we'll see you in Minneapolis in May.
By the way, let's get a sponsor, and maybe I'll come in.
Yeah.
That's it. There we
We'll
go.
do it live from the Mall of America.
As long as the check clears, baby.
This is
Right?
good. We
As
can
long
do
as the
this.
check clears, we can make this work,
Thanks,
Shefty.
Adam.
Thanks, brother. We
There
appreciate
you
it.
go, buddy. Take
You
care.
guys have a great day.
Thank you,
There
buddy.
is Adam Schefter on the Comcast Business
Oh, wait.
Hotline. Brought to us by Landis Block, your very own jaw-dropping backyard paradise. Online, landisbc.com. I'm sure some management's jaws just dropped.
I'm telling you right there, it's a layup.
We didn't say it.
And there's nothing like May in Minneapolis. No one has ever
That's
said
where
that.
everyone wants to go in
No
May.
one has ever. As long as it isn't Liv's graduation, I'm in.
I'm in too. Hey.
As long as it isn't Liv's
Where's
graduation.
Vince Philly Sports Trips at?
Come on.
All right, coming up next, we've
Maybe they could be the sponsor.
Ace headlines with Connor Thomas here on The Fanatic.
The Philadelphia 76ers.
Sixers win.
outside, brother.
Damn right it is, and it's a gorgeous time for today's headlines with Connor Thomas. Boom.
Today's headlines with Connor Thomas.
What do we got? Who's it by?
It's brought to us by Lundy Law. For over 70 years, Lundy Law has been fighting for injured people. If you need them, remember the name Lundy Law. Your injury lawyers. Visit lundylaw.com. That's lundylaw.com. I'm not sure if you guys have seen this, but we need the Philadelphia sports scene to adopt this policy immediately. Coastal Carolina is changing their concessions policy. You guys seen this news?
No. I don't even follow them, but that's interesting.
The shot
They have a
clears.
good baseball program, right?
Solid football program. They made some noise a couple years back, too. But Coastal Carolina just announced that all concessions will be free at home football games this fall. Totally free. Fans can get 4 items per concession stand visit. So that's hot dogs, nachos, popcorn, fountain drinks. And there's no limit on the number of in-game visits.
Wait a minute.
Free food.
Okay, that's wild.
See, now that's what a team like the Temple Owls need to do when they have their field at Lincoln Financial Field, and it's embarrassing when it looks like there's 500 people
Thing
in
is,
there.
they have a stadium,
I know.
so they're not paying the exorbitant rent that the Eagles charge Temple University.
Right. And obviously you can't do that because it's not their stadium. But it's a good way to try to get people in the seats. And, I would go to a game if I can bring my family of like 4. Right? Like imagine if you got 2 kids and you're just trying to get out. It's a Saturday.
You got 2 chubby kids, too. Imagine that.
Screw the kids. I want the food. I'm going to crush like 17 hot dogs at these games.
See, that's crazy to me that they're doing. I don't know how they're going to do it, but unless they have food sponsors that are actually
That are a big
sponsoring
part of
it.
it. Yeah.
That's wild.
But
They
I think,
must
I
have,
think
but-
that's great.
Yeah,
That's a wild story.
Lower concession prices. I'm done paying $7
Yes.
for a bottle of water. Speaking of water, Saquon Barkley might need some ASAP. He's going to be on Hot Ones tomorrow. If you guys
Really?
aren't familiar with Hot Ones,
yeah.
it's the interview show where they eat the progressively hotter spiced chicken wings, and they do the interview over the course of that. Some great videos have come out over the years from that show.
Shaq did it, and it was quite. He wimped out a little bit.
He's got one of the biggest memes with his eyes going.
So
real
that's
wide.
the thing. I've never watched the show.
You've
Oh,
never
you
ever.
have to, dude. It's good.
Oh, it's pretty cool.
I know. I've heard great things. It's just I watch the. It's like the Manning cast. I watch the clips that get posted on social
okay.
media.
You've never watched you've never watched. I think you'd find it entertaining. Just find a guest that you're really interested in.
Yeah.
You'd find it entertaining. And some of the people, they're crapping at it too.
Would you
Like the
guys
second
do it?
one. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I would do it.
I ate the. Remember when they were doing the
ghost chip?
The ghost chip challenge?
Yeah, I would do it.
Yeah, I'm out on the ghost chip.
Shaq offered me $2,000 on the podcast to eat one on the podcast.
Nice.
I ate one, and he
I
said,
ate two.
and he said,
Get
I
$4,000.
said it was bad. It was bad, but I was like, I'll eat another one. He goes, I'll double it for my charity.
Hell yeah, man.
I ate it, and the second one, I couldn't get the taste out of my mouth for 24 hours.
Oh, really?
And my throat, it was terrible. It was awful.
That
But
doesn't sound
but
good.
for $4,000 for charity, I did it.
All right, coming up next, we get back to our sports talk. We got to react to a little bit more from what Shefty had to say. We didn't have a chance. We had today's headlines. So we'll react to some of the stuff that Shefty had to say about the Tush Push. And something that we joke about a lot may actually be real when it comes to those who are for the Tush Push and against the Tush Push. Football guys versus non-football guys. And the funny thing is, I'm serious. I do believe there's something to it. It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
A Tush Push vote delay. I'm Connor Thomas, and this update is brought to you by Rapid Radios. Their instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage for a limited time. Go to rapidradios.com now for 60% off and free UPS shipping. Add code radio and get an extra 5% off. The conversation on the Tush Push has been tabled at the NFL owner meetings. No vote yesterday. Nick Sirianni did meet with media and talked about his defense of the play.
I know what the data says, and I know how we coach it, and we don't coach a push play any different than we coach a quarterback sneak play. So that play's been in for a very long time. There's probably enough data on that play to get information from.
But the book isn't closed on the Tush Push voting. That has been tabled to a later date, so it could be banned later this offseason. We'll keep you updated as the offseason continues. Phillies take on the Rockies tonight, 6:45. Zach Wheeler on the mound facing Kyle Freeland. Sixers lost to the Knicks last night, 105-91. They're off tonight. Flyers are still off until this Saturday. This update's also brought to you by Corona. Want to win tickets to a Sixers game? Enter for your chance to win at the Fanatics Corona Sixers pregame party events happening all season long, hosted by our man Andrew Salciunas and sometimes sometimes me. You can talk to me on Saturday. For details, go to the events page on 975thefanatic.com. I'm Connor Thomas for the home of the 76ers and Flyers, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
great having Shefty on, especially when he was as fiery, fierce, and animated as he was today.
He's very cool with the give and take, by the way.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So,
because people probably going, oh, my God.
Man, Shefty was getting angry. No, he wasn't angry. He was just give and take.
He probably likes it because
he does enjoy it.
It's not always just report.
Right.
Right. That which probably gets a little robotic over time.
I hope my students though weren't listening to his one answer.
Which one?
Because the role of a journalist is supposed to be, first of all, objective, which we find very little of nowadays.
Oh yeah.
And second of all, is supposed to counter misinformation. That is the role. I got class tonight. We're going to talk about this. We always talk about some of the stuff with it. That is the role of a journalist. Now, a lot of these people today, journalism has become more entertainment.
Yes.
Preach to your own choir and just feed whatever you want to do. That's not the role of journalism.
Now, what's interesting, I'm trying to be serious about this and not like have fun with it, even though it is going to come off as having fun with it.
Okay.
Have you noticed that the people that are for the tush push staying are more of what you would call a football guy?
Yes.
And the people that are anti-tush push
are getting their eyebrows waxed.
As you have been pointing out with Matt LaFleur.
Kyle Shanahan, Matt LaFleur, Sean McVay. They're eyebrow waxers. They go get their eyebrows waxed. That's the difference. Mike Vrabel, not getting his eyebrows waxed.
Football guy.
Nick Sirianni maybe could use an eyebrow waxing.
But he's a football guy.
But he doesn't do it because
he wants to play.
He wants to play the game.
And here's the other thing. The point that I'm also getting to, if you have, like, we're talking about it, right, every single day.
Sure.
If you watch any of the ESPNs, NFL networks, NBCs, you name it, the former players are all saying, why are you getting rid of this play?
It was yesterday, NFL Live, it was unanimous.
Yes.
Last night, SportsCenter, unanimous. They're ex-players.
Ex-players,
Ryan Clark and
Hasselbeck was on there,
And they all were like, this is ridiculous that this is being even contemplated.
Yeah.
Why are they doing that?
There are former offensive linemen that are on these networks.
Jeff Saturday.
They're the ones that are under the pile.
Like Jeff Saturday going, well, like what is this? Why is this even being contemplated? And we heard from Adam, there's no logic to it.
No, there is none.
None at all.
And so that's like, again, I'm trying not to make the joke of football guy versus non-football guy.
It's the truth.
But that's what it's kind of coming down to. Like,
look at
the guys that are trying to get rid of it aren't your football guy tag.
It's weird you say that because Anthony on here on Instagram sends along. He goes, there's a difference. The black coffee crowd, all's for it. The guys who are getting their double choco lattes are the ones that are against it.
Well, then again, Dan Campbell is like
Dan Campbell's for. Oh, he drinks the energy. No,
he does like
no, he's not the coach.
No, but he does like 7-shot latte giant. Like he does the big coffees. So
really?
Be careful. Dan
big
Campbell
guy needs a big coffee.
Yeah,
it's okay.
By the way, Coach O had to get talked off of all the energy. You know, Coach O used to drink. He used to drink the energy.
The Monsters,
right?
And
he had the refrigerator in his office.
Yeah.
A good mutual friends with Coach O he got talked off that by a doctor.
Oh yeah, that stuff's not good for him.
Like it's too. You can do too much of that.
Yeah, it's not good.
Dan Campbell though, man, he's badass. You think Dan Campbell's gonna be like, no, we need to ban the tush push?
Well, that's the thing. So all right, let's face it. So there's 16 teams. I wish we had the on record.
We're going to have it.
We'll
at
have
some
it on.
point.
No, we don't know on the record yesterday.
What I want to know is the 16 teams now, because they need to try to sway eight more votes.
I don't think I disagree with Adam, and he knows more than I do. I don't believe they're going to get 8 teams to sway.
So of the 14 teams that want it kept, that means they need to sway 8 of them. Dan Campbell straight up said, like a lot of these people were on the record saying, look, why would we get rid of it? It's a play that's worked for them. Is Dan Campbell, and I'm just using him as an example because we're talking about him, is he going to all of a sudden change his opinion publicly? Because all of this is going to be public.
I don't
And a
believe
lot of
he
these
will.
guys are already public for or against the tush push.
I mean, come on. I don't believe
I think every team's probably commented it on this point because everybody's asked about it. It's the number one story in the NFL. So Dave Canales of the Carolina Panthers, I'm sure was asked about it. We just haven't seen it yet.
He said he would rather see strip clubs banned. than the tush push.
But
and that's a lot for him to say that.
It's a very simple turnaround. The coaches that switch, if they're on the record publicly, are going to say, I got more information on the play. I'm in favor of it not being part of the sport.
Well, if we get the information, then they could.
But we're not going to get the information because it doesn't exist. So they're just going to come out and say, we got more information, we changed our mind.
That's all they're going to say.
Here's the thing, guys. We've been taught this since we were like 5 years old. Every parent has had this discussion with their kids. Life ain't fair. All right? Roger Goodell right now is the parent in this situation. Whether he should be or not, he's the commissioner of the NFL. He doesn't like to play. People lie. Life ain't fair. They're truths. They're unavoidable. We're just going to have to live with it.
You know how many times I got that lecture, Connor? And,
I'm sure a billion.
and it never sunk in. It never sinks in with me because I'm a fool. I've said it to you many times. I just, like, I wish I wasn't wired the way I'm wired.
Right.
I get punked so many times believing people, I believe this person when they said this. I trust them, and I'm a fool. I am the worst judge of character maybe who's ever been put on this earth. And I don't get it.
Me, man.
That's because I work with good people like you.
I'm saying you're
Until
a poor
I
judge
get
of character.
screwed.
Who, the guy who hates everybody for no reason?
Nah, he doesn't, though.
By the way,
sports hates
sports
different.
hates
I
different.
know. And he's a nice guy.
By the way,
Not you, though.
rack that. Somebody actually tracked all the teams that have supported the
Okay.
tush push. Obviously, Eagles, Ravens, Panthers. So Dave Canales.
He did,
Browns,
yes.
Saints, Colts, Patriots, Cardinals, Jets, Lions. And they did not have the Lions on there yet, so
Right.
we know the Lions are
Lions
in favor
did.
of keeping the tush push. Which team changes their opinion?
Like if Vrabel's not, I don't believe Vrabel's changing.
And I don't think
believe
Dan
that
Campbell
Campbell's
changes
changing.
it. I don't think
believe-
Aaron Glenn changes
I don't
it.
believe these are football guys. Look at them. Look at them. They all fit a mold.
Yeah.
They're all grizzled football guys. They're old school.
And then there's the guys
They're
that
not-
rock with Sirianni, so Steichen, Gannon, and Kellen Moore.
And Kellen Moore. There's. I don't believe he's getting 24 votes.
Jonathan Gannon might be a bit of a rat.
But we know he's We know he's
Just
a
saying.
bit of a.
I'm
know
just
he's-
saying.
here's the
Jonathan
thing is,
Gannon's a bit of a rat.
Here's the thing is I watch the way his teams play defense. I don't believe Jonathan Gannon's going to go for something that's obviously soft. Because he is,
but you know what?
he's not. No,
you
I
may
don't
say
believe-
yes, Mr. Commissioner, whatever you say,
Well,
Mr.
it's-
Commissioner.
The other thing you got to remember with the coaches, like the coaches are the ones publicly commenting in most of the cases of positive, right?
Right.
And in the negative, it's the owners that we're hearing from.
But if the owners vote against their coach, like that's atrocious.
Well, here's the thing, right? The owners are in charge, so the coach isn't going to go into the office and be like, what the hell? And the coaches can also then go to the media and be like, listen, I didn't mind the play, but it was not my vote. Kind of like how
Okay.
Adam said it's not my job,
Yeah.
like with the Roger Goodell thing. It's not the coach's vote. So if they go out and say, hey, I didn't mind the play, but the ownership wanted to ban it, I
then
stand with
let me
my owner,
ask you this,
whatever.
Mr. and Mrs. Owners that are out there, you know, you said a lot of eyes were on the Eagles last year, right?
Oh yeah, the Eagles were the most watched team.
This play, for a lot of people, are saying they just don't like the way that it looks. Adam Schefter said, by the way, we'll play our best 5 minutes of Shefty later in the 9 o'clock hour. I believe he said, and I quote, it's a boring play.
Yes.
That's what people are saying, not him. There are people within the league that call it a boring play. Have the ratings taken a hit?
No, in fact, the ratings are better all across the board. More people streaming, more people watching on TV. The ratings are better. It's why I always argue with the people who go, the NFL product's awful.
So if it's such a boring play and it's hurting the league, how come the ratings have gone up?
I have no idea.
That's another thing that's stupid to this argument.
Because it's a false narrative. Again, it's like the people saying the NFL product's terrible. Yeah, really? People have never flocked to it more. They love it more than ever.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, dude, the whole thing's always been ridiculous, right? There's nothing for it. But the people in power want it gone. It's going to be gone. We're going to have to live with it.
Why would they want their business model to be less of what the people
Because they
want?
don't like the Eagles having an unstoppable play.
And I think that opens up. It goes back to our initial topic to start the show today. I think this opens up a dangerous door where they go, oh, well, we don't like it, so let's get rid of it.
The NFL is a dangerous door warehouse.
Yeah, but and here's the thing. Like, all right, so the Yankees are doing the torpedo bats. Let's say it was the Twins who came up with the torpedo bats. Does that get banned quicker than it would be if the Yankees? Because the Yankees, it's the Yankees.
Yes.
You want the eyes on the Yankees, right?
I would agree.
I think this is weird. Anyways, coming up next, we'll check our text line. Also, we'll move aside from Tush Push for a minute here. I found something very random, which is sometimes the most fun about a show. Something turns 30 this week in sports.
Really?
And there's a quiz attached to it that John and Connor don't even know about. It's Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. We want to hear from you, so text us at 610-632-09. And then, because I want people to be ready for this, you all, not just Connor and John, you at home and driving your cars can play this game as well. Something turns 30 this week
I can't wait for this.
that I'm going to give an AS20 guarantee. that anybody who is listening to the show at this given moment has used this website.
Turns 30. Okay.
What is it, Google?
I'll let you know in a second. Give us a text message on any of our topics because I would like to still hear from the people. We've been very busy this hour.
I hope it's not the other website I'm thinking of. Okay, so we have a check-in here from Will from Delco who says, I think the commissioner is hell-bent on banning the tush push because of what the Commanders did in the NFC Championship game. I think he was embarrassed that on that stage the refs could have awarded the Eagles a touchdown, and he will do whatever it takes to get rid of the play.
You know what? That's not a bad theory on his part. It's not a bad theory that's the, like, sort of an impetus behind it that, because that was really sort of stupid.
But hold on. You're penalizing the team that's successful. Instead of penalizing the team that's jumping off sides over and over and over again, which penalizing them would be to reward the Eagles the touchdown. Like, that's the penalty. Instead, if that's the reasoning behind it, the embarrassment of what happened in the NFC Championship game, you're penalizing the team that is successful at it.
I would agree with you, but I don't.
That's wrong.
I absolutely agree with you on that, but I don't disagree. I think that's an interesting theory that I had not thought of.
Now, it goes out the window. Roger Goodell has made comments prior to this past season saying he doesn't like to play. He's been on the record in an interview with The Athletic.
And that's the problem. Like, he has been on the record saying he does not like to play, so he's going to get what he wants because he's the commissioner of the NFL, and he's going against what he's supposed to do. And I know Shefty said, look, he is the commissioner. He can get whatever he wants. When half the league is against having it banned, and he's going to have to grease the skids over the next month.
Massage it.
And that's Shefty literally said, over the next month he's going to do whatever he can to try to get people to change their opinions. And that's horrible.
That's really, like, to me, honestly,
corrupt.
I guarantee you what Shefty said on this radio station this morning is not going to be, if it ever gets to the commissioner, it's not going to be happy. Like, they wouldn't be happy that's sort of the narrative that's out there.
Well,
but it's reality.
It's reality.
And Shefty doesn't give a flip.
Corruption, baby.
Yeah, what is it new that the NFL doesn't always act in the best interest of everybody? Yeah, like, what are we, naive on this?
No, we're not. It's the thing is, though, is that people just, I think it's when the corruption is thrown in your face.
Yeah, we haven't been good enough, consistently enough, to have the corruption thrown in our face. New England says, what are you guys new? Kansas City says, what are you guys new? Philadelphia's feeling it because we're the defending Super Bowl champions with an unstoppable play. Guess what? If we're going to keep winning,
was Brady taken away from the Patriots?
Yes. Yeah, he was. He got
legitimately,
suspended.
yes, taken away.
He was. They suspended him.
So for no reason.
Connor, that's a great.
Yeah, for doing.
It's a great
but
point,
for doing something illegal. The Eagles are not doing anything illegal.
Get used to being a winner because they're going to call what you do illegal when you win by so much.
Also, watch that. A.J. Brown's be banned because he's too good. All right. ESPN.com turns 30 years old.
Okay, that's incredible. I was trying to figure out what it is. I thought the same thing as Connor did, one of the search engines. Okay, ESPN.com, by the way.
And I bet you everybody that's listening has at some point gone to ESPN.com.
And ESPN.com, by the way, used to suck. Like, it really wasn't.
I'm sure a lot of things sucked.
No, but I mean, it really wasn't like
technology.
Like, there was, ESPN.com used to have a bracket. But they didn't have it when ESPN.com started. There wasn't a bracket challenge.
Right.
All you did was you went to ESPN.com and you printed off your bracket.
Right.
You didn't get to keep track of your picks. It didn't calculate. People used to have to go to the website, print off their bracket, and then get the highlighter out.
Yeah, I remember doing all that.
And keep score on folded up papers.
All right, so they put together a 12-question quiz.
Okay.
Of ESPN.com.
I like this.
So I want to see if how well you guys do on this. They're multiple choice. All right, so some of these are easy. Question 1, the original ESPN.com launched as ESPNnet.sportzone.com. At what annual sporting event known for its shining moments?
NCAA tournament.
Yeah, it's March Madness.
Men's Final Four. So
yeah, whatever.
Yeah, that's when it happened in April. All right, question number 2. ESPN.com named the bite fight between Mike Tyson and Evander Holyfield the most infamous sports moment of the 20th century. What was the fitting original slogan for that now notorious boxing match? They were the final showdown, frenemies no more, the sound and the fury, who's hungrier? Those were your original titles.
Who's hungrier?
Yeah, who's hungrier?
Incorrect. The sound and the fury was the answer.
That's really bad.
All right. ESPN Sports Zone was officially redubbed ESPN.com the same day which former Tennessee quarterback made his NFL debut for the Colts?
Peyton Manning.
That is correct. Nice and easy. All right, this one I don't know. Iconic American writer, you might know this better with your time at ESPN. Hunter S. Thompson wrote a column called Hey Rube.
Well, he wasn't he's a more famous for being a writer.
For ESPN.com's Page 2.
Yeah, Page 2 used to be really good stuff.
He is most famous for a style of journalism that shares a name with what beloved Muppets character? Kermit, Gonzo, Animal, Fozzie. I don't know.
Gonzo.
That is correct. All right.
That was the only one it could be.
ESPN.com hosted its first ever live game broadcast when what number 1 ranked defending college football national champion traveled to New Jersey to take on Rutgers. This was back in 2002.
2002, Ohio State.
Not an option. Notre Dame, Clemson, USC, Miami.
Miami, then.
That's my guess as well. That is correct.
That is correct.
You had this, John. ESPN debuted its own cell phone in 2005.
I had one of these, yes. Hey, you know what? I think Scott Masterler may have been behind me getting it.
That's actually
I don't know.
awesome.
It's either him or Pete Giannissini, who I had the ESPN, the phone.
Now they say,
and it was the heaviest thing you could ever imagine. It was very difficult to put in your pocket.
Right.
Like you had to put it in a jacket pocket. You could not put, like Connor could never put it in his pants pockets. Connor dressing like,
Dude, I can't fit a pencil in these things.
Exactly.
They said, did it last long? No, but it paved the way for what smartphone app that ESPN has?
ESPN, the Go. ESPN, whatever.
Score Center.
Score Center was the first one.
That?
Wow, look at that.
All right, everybody loves a winner. Since ESPN.com users gained the ability to personalize the site to their preferred leagues and teams, this pro franchise with a mountain of championships has been favorited more than any other. Lakers,
Yankees.
Cowboys, Yankees, Bulls.
Lakers.
Lakers is correct.
Ooh. Yeah.
All right.
People love the Lakers.
Well, think of Kobe that era, too.
That's true.
There's about
Kobe, Shaq, and then Kobe.
Right. There's 4 more, but I'll give you this one before.
That's a pretty good.
Before we move on.
These are interesting
This one's great.
because everybody can play along in their car.
You guys should know this one. And this is stupid that we should know this one. In July of 2015, paparazzi snapped a photo of LeBron James, Chris Paul, and Dwayne Wade vacationing together in the Bahamas on what iconic water toy that became the nickname of a mythical NBA super team?
The banana boat, baby.
That is
There you
correct. And that was caught by ESPN.com, which turns 30 this week.
I used to buy the banana boat. That was my
the
that was my
sunscreen?
sunscreen of choice, which is probably atrocious. Absolutely, like it's all oiled up.
Right.
Oh man, you go to the beach and you get sand on you; it wouldn't come off.
So 30 years of ESPN.com, a website that we've definitely all checked out at some point.
That's
in our lives.
excellent.
All right, coming up next, we'll
That's
reset.
really good.
We'll reset today's topics. Thank you, ESPN, for putting that together. Today's topics coming up next. We reset. Don't forget, best 5 minutes of Schefty. You don't want to miss it around 9:10 today because he was spirited today.
He was,
And he agreed with us, which is the best part.
and he tried to get us a road trip.
Yes. If anybody who's listening. Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Tabling the Tush Push. I'm Connor Thomas, and the conversation on the Eagles' signature play has been tabled at the NFL owner meetings, not making it to a vote yesterday. The thought is that the vote would not have passed on banning the play, so the league said we'll push it off a little bit and try and whip those votes up for next time. Nick Sirianni met with the media and did talk about his defense of the play.
I know what the data says, and I know how we coach it, and we don't coach a push play any different than we coach a quarterback sneak play. So that play's been in for a very long time. There's probably enough data on that play to get information from.
But even though it didn't go to a vote yesterday, like I said, they'll be revisiting this at a later date. There's no guarantee that the play will not be banned in the future. We'll keep you updated as the offseason continues. Phillies take on the Rockies tonight, 6:45 p.m. first pitch with Zach Wheeler on the mound, facing Kyle Freeland. Sixers lost to the Knicks 105-91. They're off tonight. The Flyers are still off until Saturday. This update is brought to you by Bet365. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Download the app today. I'm Connor Thomas for the home of the 76ers and Flyers, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Fanatic Weekend with Andrew DiCecco.
I think it's too premature.
Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. By the way, starting next week, don't forget the Fanatic signing bonus. Your chance to win $1,000 5 times a day. Starting Monday, April 7th, 8 a.m. with us. Then every other show gets 2 chances. Johnny, 10 o'clock and noon with the Mike Missanelli Show. 3 o'clock and 5 with the best show ever. Each time we'll announce a keyword. You'll have 25 minutes after the hour to enter it, either on the website, the app, or the text code that we'll give to you. It's all sponsored by our friends over at Live Casino and Hotel Philadelphia. Great spot. I love it there. Contest rules at 975thefanatic.com and also 975thefanatic.com. You can go to the deals page, /deals. Check out the deal of the week. 2 single-day wristbands for the price of 1. For the Funplex in Mount Laurel, New Jersey. Wristbands offer unlimited access to indoor and outdoor rides, 1-hour bowling, and select video games. Get this exclusive offer while supplies last at 975thefanatic.com/deals, and those are all real. All those reads that I just did.
So $409. That's how much a year round trip airfare would be.
Oh, yeah?
$409. It's not bad.
To get to Minneapolis?
Just trying to listen to Adam Schefter there and trying to put
I
together.
mean, Shefty's the one that's telling us
I'm
we should
trying to
go.
put together the budget. You know, it's just this $409 airfare. Interesting.
Look, he made it clear that we should be out there.
I think he said it. I think he demanded it.
Somebody has to ask the tough questions.
Look,
and John, I believe that you could do it.
You can demand Rand. You can demand. Shefty's making demands. There it goes.
I would love, like, behind closed doors to talk to Raj and be like, yo, dude, like, what's your actual reason?
Would you? Because you know what he's going to tell you.
I just don't like it.
Yeah. You're going to be in the same spot.
And he'll say, he'll say, quiet down, radio guy. I'm the commissioner of the NFL.
Lighten up, Francis.
You guys watched me in my basement because COVID was happening, and you guys needed something to do.
He wants parity.
You're welcome for the content.
He wants parity in the league. The Eagles have an unstoppable play. They're too good to use it. They want to get rid of it.
Parity in the league, a league that's had dynasties. What parity?
I understand.
The Patriots were a dynasty. The Chiefs are a dynasty. What parity?
Andrew, what did he do to those dynasties? Did they like Roger Goodell when they were great? Or did they hate his guts? Did Patriots fans chain themselves to the league office and get arrested because of what he did?
I don't think the Chiefs fans have any beef with Raj.
Chiefs fans absolutely do.
No, they don't.
Why?
The overtime change against Buffalo, they lost their minds over saying you're changing the whole overtime rules just because we beat the Bills. Like, listen, because Mahomes gets flags, they're going to like the officiating. But when you're a great team, the sport tries to beat you back to the pack to make things more entertaining.
The Chiefs fans have much beef with the league.
I got to check with that because I don't believe Chiefs fans are anti-Goodell.
I don't think so either.
I just don't think that they have any reason to be either.
No, I mean, there's no gates, right? Bounty Gate with the Saints.
I think they
love Flake Gate and Spy Gate with the Patriots. There's no Taylor Swift Gate. Like there's no gate with the Chiefs.
Trust me, great teams hate the commissioner of their sport because the commissioner wants parity.
I wish there was a Taylor Swift Gate. They could just lock it. Seriously, she's a talented performer.
Yeah, she's turncoat.
But it's just like
she's a fraudulent turncoat.
She's an absolute fraud.
Bring it on, Swifties. She's a fraudulent turncoat.
Yeah, there's a few others.
Much like her father.
And some others we saw around the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
There's a few others.
Maybe her future brother-in-law. What do I know?
You never know.
All right, you can text in and call in at 610-632-0975. As you're listening to 97.5 The Fanatic, WPEN HD1 Burlington, Philadelphia, Beasley Media Group Station, broadcasting live from the Comcast Business Studio, powering possibilities. By the way, Jason Kelce did retweet the video of Brandon Graham throwing out the first pitch the other day.
That's nice. And he became a father again.
He did. Congratulations
as
to the Kelce
Kelces grew. Like that very much.
Which is awesome. But just saying, it was the first time he finally made mention of Brandon Graham's retirement.
We're glad of that.
Yeah, they must hate each other.
I'm just saying, it took a while.
Just glad that it got there.
It took a while.
Good. He corrected he corrected something public.
Yeah.
You don't answer a damn text message for 3 months.
Pop up over here does not.
Yeah, but I'm not Mr. Public. Jason Kelce is.
You're not Mr. Public. You host a morning show on the
public
radio.
to us.
You know how to find me every day? Every day you're going to find me 5 a.m. till about 11 a.m.
And then
Monday through Friday.
And then it's like you're in the CIA.
Yeah, but at least you know when to reach me. Come on, man. All right, here's what we're talking about. Obviously, the potential ban of the Tush push. We're going to play our best 5 minutes of Adam Schefter in the next segment. He's making it very clear that it's on its way out. And that sucks.
His desire is for it to be on its way out.
Yeah, I saw us put out the quote from Shefty. Quote, "It is definitely tracking to be banned right now. If you just listen to the language used by Roger Goodell, the commissioner usually gets what he wants." So here's the problem. As much as I want to hate the Packers, and I will, as much as I want to hate the hypocrite of Sean McDermott, as I will, this is becoming a Roger Goodell thing because he's going to literally, quote from Adam Schefter, the number one reporter in all of sports, not just the NFL, but all of sports, the commissioner usually gets what he wants. And what he wants is for this play to be banned or for them to come up with some sort of way to limit what the Eagles are able to do, all because he doesn't like the way it looks, and he's tired probably of hearing the bitching and moaning from some of these teams that go, we don't know how to stop it, when they have every opportunity to try it themselves.
Correct.
And that's like, all right.
That sucks, but it's that you've summed it up.
Then ban other things. We did a fun little exercise earlier in the show. Every baseball field should have the same dimensions then. Because the Yankees built a team that thrives with the short porch in right field. The Diamondbacks built a team that thrives with their stadium where the ball is not hit as well. The Rangers have built a team. That ball doesn't fly as much. There are teams that build teams based off of the dimensions of their ballpark.
Which is smart. We're not criticizing.
No, that's a smart thing to do.
It's a smart thing to do, yes.
But if we're banning the tush push because the Eagles have a top offensive line and a quarterback that squats 600 pounds, then you should make every baseball field even. There should be nobody that's more athletically gifted than any other player in sports. Everybody should have the exact same speed, exact same weight, exact same height. Why should it be fair that a guy like Mike Evans can run as fast as other top wide receivers, but he's like 6'5"? Why should that be a Calvin Johnson? He should not have been allowed in the NFL because the guy was a cheat code. Like, this is what the point is. Like, this is stupid that you're taking away from something that the Eagles have found works for them based off of the team that they have.
The interesting note, by the way, Jeff Kerr was listening from CBS Sports. Was listening to our conversation earlier about Dallas Goedert.
Yes.
That we had. He said Hurts did have a 112 passer rating going to Goddard this year. Third on the team with 46 attempts. He had a 127.2 rating going to Calcaterra. Half the attempts.
Yeah, much less.
23, but only 46 to 23. And he had a 127 rating. He says in his mind, he goes, I think Goddard's a luxury. But in his mind, you don't win the Super Bowl without a guy like that because you got to have somebody opening up the middle of the field.
Yeah, he's a big
so that
part
has
of
to
that.
be replaced.
And that's why I'd be borderline devastated.
And also, he points out that the Eagles are better running the quarterback sneak than they are running the tush push as far as
success rate.
Yeah,
all
that's
the
interesting
thing.
stuff. Follow Jeff Kerr.
If the tush
Jeff
push
Kerr
gets
CBS.
banned, they're still going to run the sneak, and it's still going to work.
They're better running the sneak as far as success rate. So
yeah, it's all going to be fine.
Just an interesting thing. Either way, it will be
pisses me off.
fine.
It's the principle
but
of it.
It is. It is the principle of it.
Oh, it's too good. We're going to get rid of it. It's messed up.
Yeah, get done with it.
All right, what do we got on the text line?
All right, so we have a check-in on that Dallas Goedert conversation from earlier as well, like Jeff Kerr was just checking in on. And Gina from Southwest Florida says, how many times have we said it's going to be a Dallas Goedert game, and then it hasn't happened? Honestly, I can remember one game early in the season that he took over. I think most teams' number one tight end gives you similar stats to what Goddard has put up.
We're just going to ignore the Packers game then in the playoffs.
No. That's not what she's saying. All right?
No,
Listen,
she said early in the season.
we get it. You love Dallas.
Goddard.
You're a big Dallas
Make
fan.
that very clear.
You're a big fan of
Before I
Dallas.
come in there and
You like
beat the
J.R.
crap
Ewing
out of
and
you.
Bobby. You like them all. You love everything about Dallas.
But
All you guys.
no, like
Get outta here.
nobody's saying Dallas Goedert isn't a good player.
No, but I can't believe the borderline devastation.
I don't think he's as easily replaceable, and I don't think the numbers that you provided, although they are factually correct, does the Dallas Goedert discussion full justice.
Well, what is it about?
What is it about the
Yeah.
I believe he is a complete package, and I would rather have a complete package
you told
at
me-
tight end than Grant Calcaterra, who is
told me-
not good at blocking.
You told me, but he's that you can't prove that.
I'll listen to
They
Andy
are
DeCecco,
better-
who will straight
They are
up tell you
better
that.
in theory
As the team.
He's a better blocker. They're better with Dallas Goedert out of the lineup than in it, running the football in the 15 games that he missed over the last 3
Now-
years. That's just facts. That's not spinning it anyway. They average more yards rushing per game when Goddard isn't in the lineup than when he is.
Well, it may be unintentionally spinning it.
Could
to
be.
be fair to
No, it could
Andrew's
be.
point,
Could be.
you're looking at a compilation stat. Do they run the ball more when Dallas Goedert is out because the passing offense is less effective, leading to the higher
Right,
win
I saw
totals?
Gardner Minshew throw for more yards than Jalen Hurts a couple of years ago. Does that mean he's a better quarterback?
Like here in the 15 games, here are what they rushed for. Like this year, Now, this year, or do you want to throw out the
I don't want to throw out
Okay,
this year,
can't throw it out.
but
Can't
Saquon's
throw it out.
Saquon. But I don't want to throw it out.
269? How about this? The biggest rushing games that they've had. How about 363 versus the Packers a few years ago? 253 versus the Giants a few years ago? 269 versus the Giants this year? Have all been games when Dallas Goedert doesn't play.
Yeah, but the real number would probably be rushes per attempt or yards per attempt, because compilations that I could easily.
I would imagine if they rush for 300 plus
I bet you
yards,
they're better.
it'd be high.
I could argue that the percentage of run plays goes up when you lose one of your top 3 receiving targets.
No, and I absolutely, that's the truth. 4 of the games where they rushed for more than 200 yards this year were the 4 of the games that Dallas Goedert missed.
Yeah.
211, 209, 237, 269. For 3 touchdowns, 2 touchdowns, 1 touchdown. Rushing. Like big games.
Yeah, the bottom line is Dallas Goedert is probably overrated by this fan base.
He's Jeff used luxury item.
It doesn't make him a bad player. He's still a very good
nobody's saying he's a
player.
bad. Yeah,
No. We're all fans. We all would wish all 3 of us, we wish he's back next year.
Absolutely.
If financially there's a way it could work out.
But is Dallas Goedert a replaceable tight end? My answer to that question would be yes.
Mine is absolutely yes. In fact, all the facts back me up.
I would believe replaceable through the draft, not via Grant Calcaterra.
That's
No,
fine.
that's fine.
But still
Nobody's problem with that.
replaceable.
Even though Grant Calcaterra.
Like there are a lot of people that have made the point that if Dallas Goedert left and Grant, like we have taken texts that, Grant Calcaterra could be tight end 1. I don't believe that to be the case. I don't think that Grant Calcaterra is a number 1 tight end on the team, especially the fall off from Dallas Goedert. You can give me all the numbers you want. That's just what I believe. So I'm a football guy, you know. I'm pro keeping the tush push. I like physical tight ends that can also catch. It's all right.
I love that this football guy has become a catch-all for your opinions.
I mean, that's what it comes down to.
But the thing is, though,
the
only thing I'm a little disappointed in you is that everything you're saying are just feelings.
Yes.
Not facts.
Wait, so
you're usually a facts
you're
guy.
using the tush push argument for Dallas Goedert. I feel like he's needed. I'd be devastated.
I know that he's better than Grant Calcaterra.
Well, no, but no, that's not the argument. The argument is when Dallas Goedert has been out, the Eagles have actually been a more effective offense.
But that doesn't make me feel better with him leaving. It doesn't. I think the team is better with Dallas Goedert. Now, I believe there is a replaceable piece in this draft, but it has to happen. I wish they did it last year. I don't want to go into the defending Super Bowl champion season with a rookie tight end.
Okay.
As my tight end 1. I'd rather if they have done this. I wish they addressed it last year, just like they did, but with Ertz and Selleck before that. All right, coming up next, Adam Schefter, very spirited earlier today on the show. You'll hear the best 5 minutes of it coming up next on the Tush Push saga. Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Mike Missanelli.
You have a stagnant situation right now.
9:12 here on Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. All right, later on in the show, we'll talk a little bit about the Titans as they resume their series with the Rockies today. An awesome story for an Eagles fan about what's going on in Dallas between Jerry Jones and Micah Parsons, which is just incredible.
Really awesome.
Unbelievable. But before we do all that, Adam Schefter joined us earlier today, as he does every single Wednesday at 7:55, and we usually play our best 5 minutes of it here. But today, especially so, he was very spirited about the Tush push, the status of it. So take a listen to what Adam Schefter is reporting, thinking, feeling, and also agreeing with us when it comes to the Tush push discussion. We're joined now by our man from ESPN, Adam Schefter. Shefty, good morning.
Good morning, guys. How we doing?
We're doing okay. I'm upset with a lot of people from the league that you cover. And I still remember when you joined us weeks ago talking about the Tush push, when this first kind of started, you made such a great point. You said, what, is Patrick Mahomes going to be banned because he's the best quarterback in the league? Would Tyreek Hill be banned because he's too fast and nobody can cover him? Unfortunately, Shefty, it seems like that is the reason why the Tush push is going to be banned. It's because nobody can stop it.
It is definitely tracking to be banned right now. Like, you could just read the language or listen to the language from Roger Goodell. And I think that was always, to me, where this was going to go sideways, is you have some teams, and ultimately, in the end, the commissioner usually gets what he wants. Usually gets what he wants with rules. And if he wants that play to go away, and it certainly seems like he does, then it's going to go away.
The commissioner works for whom, Adam?
He works for the owners.
Okay, so he works for the owners. As of yesterday, now I heard NFL Network had said 14. They thought that they had 14 votes against the Tush push.
16.
Okay, they had 16. So that means he's only representing half of his constituency? He's pushing an agenda for half of his constituency when half the constituency disagrees with him? How does that work?
This is where it's at right now. It's at 16 votes.
That's half the league.
He's going to massage it, and he's going to work the owners, and he's going to get the votes he needs. Like,
why? What is the agenda here for him? And why would he be doing it for half of the owners, not the whole owners?
It's not like that. He works for the owners. His job is to represent what he does, what he feels is best for the league. I'm just telling you, like, I don't think he wants to play in there. That's my opinion.
Yeah, the thing is that he's pushing an agenda, but he's not pushing it with any facts behind it. There's no facts to back the agenda.
Hold on. I agree, but here's the issue. That's not what we're talking about, John, okay? There's no actual injury data that says that there are injuries on this particular play, okay? I got it, right? But let's look closely at what Roger Goodell said, and let's examine the language. I think there are safety issues being considered with the Tush push. We have very little data, but we see the potential risk. We see the potential risk. Somebody could get hurt. It makes a lot of sense to go back to the old rule prohibiting pulling or pushing ball carriers.
So why would they want to have more kick returns in football after telling us just the last year and the last 2 years that that was the most dangerous play? So that's why they had to put in new kickoff rules.
John, as you were just saying before I came on, in life, people come up with their own rules. They want to make things work for them. They represent their own interests and own agendas. Moving the kickoff to the 35 or the touchback to the 35 introduces more returns.
More player safety issues. So he's arguing player safety on the Tush push, which has zero data, yet he's going to argue that we want more kick returns, where he just told us in his own quotes in the last few years that that was a player safety issue and he wanted to make it less dangerous. So in other words, he's a hypocrite.
If you look at the data, the NFL is looking at a projected increase in return rate from 33% last year to somewhere around 65% this year. So it should double, roughly.
Okay.
And they're looking for more returns, and they're looking for touchbacks to 35.
Because they don't care about player safety, so he's full of crap. His whole stuff on the Tush push, which has no data of injury, it proves that it's a full of poop argument.
Again, I'm not going to argue. I'm not going to disagree with you. You're right.
Okay.
I'm just telling you that they move the touchback to the 35. They're trying to increase the return rate. More collisions, more force. You're right. The commissioner, to me, doesn't seem like he wants the Tush push. I think he and others think it's a boring play. I think they think it's just a boring play that doesn't belong in the game.
Now, does this open up a dangerous door, though? Because now it's just because of...
I don't like it.
I don't like it, right? That's what it's coming down to, right? I just don't like it. Now, it's a play that works. So, and I think about injury concerns. So you shouldn't throw the ball over the middle of the field because that's one of the dangerous spots. You're throwing a slant route to a small slot receiver that could get his bell rung by safety. That, to me, is more dangerous than the Tush push. But if Roger Goodell thinks that's more entertaining than the Tush push, I feel like that's a dangerous door to open up for any sport where the commissioner could say, I don't like the way that it looks, so I'm just going to get rid of it, despite it being a successful and strategic play.
Look, you guys are pissed off about it. I got it. I understand. Again, people make rules work for them. They apply what they want to apply. In this particular case, I believe that there are people in the league that are jealous of the Eagles' success. I believe there are people that can't duplicate the Eagles' success. I believe the commissioner and others don't like the play, and I believe the play is going to go away. I'm not telling you it's right. I'm surprised that it went this way. I did not think that that was going to happen, but it gathered up momentum, and I believe those people had the support of the commissioner, and I don't know how he's going to do it, but he's going to find the 8 votes he needs to get to 24. I'm just telling you.
How does he? Okay, how do you believe? What does he offer teams that seem embedded? We've seen the words this morning. Teams are dug in one report I've seen. Teams are embedded in their belief that it shouldn't be banned. So what is the commissioner going to offer them? Or do something? How do you move somebody off of an opinion that you're going to move 8 teams off of it?
Especially some of these teams that are on the record.
Yeah, like what does the commissioner offer them?
You know, we're going into a process that I don't have answers to.
Do you have a theory? I'm not asking you.
How about this? How about changing the kickoff rule the last time? And none of the coaches wanted that. Like, there were numerous coaches that didn't want it. And the coaches went out to play golf at the owners' meetings, and by the time they came back, the rule was passed. How'd that happen?
I'm asking. That's what I mean.
A couple of cocktails.
Is something being offered? Is someone getting their palms greased? Because the whole idea that the commissioner, he's so involved in this issue, this annoys him so much. It clearly is.
No, hold on. And it's not to defend. It's his job to be involved in all these issues. That's his job.
His job is to facilitate it, Adam. His job is not to come with an agenda and then jury rig it so he gets the answer he wants. That's not his job. He represents 32 clubs. He doesn't represent 16.
His job is he reports to the owners.
Okay, 16 of them feel his way.
But his job is to do what he believes is in the best interest of the game. Not what you and I believe, what he believes, okay? So let's be very clear about that. So he believes that play doesn't belong in the game for whatever reason. Safety, competitive advantage, doesn't like Jeff. I have no idea. He doesn't like it.
Yeah, the ratings really took a hit this year because of the tush push. Oh, wait, no, the ratings went up higher. So Roger Goodell is literally just banning it or trying to ban it because he just doesn't like it. And to say we want to get ahead of the risk of injuries, that's why you make the point of wanting more kickoffs returns. That kind of goes against his own word. Throwing passes over the middle of the field is more dangerous than the tush push. Hypocrisy. This entire debate,
it's crazy.
It's mainly built off of hypocrisy. Sean McDermott. Hey, if it doesn't get banned, we're going to use it, though. Even though I say, my own words, I believe it's a health and safety risk. And yet you'll put your high-priced quarterback at risk every time if it's not banned next year. Crazy. All right, coming up next, Dan Quinn, a coach in division of the Philadelphia Eagles, chimes in on the tush-push discussion.
Steve Weish and him had a conversation earlier.
We'll get into the Phillies a little bit as well as they continue their series today. And the Braves have more issues, even more than just Profar being suspended. It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Pushing off the tush push vote. I'm Connor Thomas, and this update is brought to you by Rapid Radios. Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage for a limited time. Go to rapidradios.com now for 60% off and free UPS shipping. Add code radio and get an extra 5% off. The conversation on the tush push has been tabled at the NFL owner meetings, not making it to a vote yesterday. Nick Sirianni did offer a defense of the play yesterday during media availability.
I know what the data says, and I know how we coach it, and we don't coach a push play any different than we coach a quarterback sneak play. So that play's been in for a very long time. There's probably enough data on that play to get information from.
But this may not be enough to save the Eagles' signature play. They're tabling for a future time, so that means that they could still ban it before the season starts. We'll keep you updated as the offseason continues. Phil's take on the Rockies tonight at 6:45. Zach Wheeler faces Kyle Freeland in the pitching matchup. Sixers lost to the Knicks 105-91 last night. They're off this evening. Flyers are still off until Saturday. This update's also brought to you by Moyer Indoor Outdoor Services. Follow Andrew Salciunas' lead and get a jump on a lush green lawn this spring right now. Go to eMoyer.com for free estimates. I'm Connor Thomas for the home of the 76ers and Flyers, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Vacation, business trip?
Kincade Salciunas, 97.5, The Fanatic. All right, before we get to some baseball here, as we've been talking about the tush push all day today, obviously, because the news came out yesterday that the vote was tabled, and it is now coming out more and more that Roger Goodell himself is going to do whatever he can to try to sway the vote in order for the tush push to be banned.
He's the impetus behind it.
And I think that's horrible. I don't care that you're the commissioner of the sport. I think that's horrible that you're policing the game this way, and I think that opens up a bad door for other leagues to be able to do stuff like this.
I think Adam agreed with us.
Yeah, he did.
I mean, he literally said he agreed.
Yeah. And it's hypocritical to, hey, let's change the kickoff so that there's more kickoffs because it's more entertaining. However, we're going to preach player safety. And I understand there were less injuries on the kickoff last year because the impact was down. But still, that means there's an extra play of potential injury. And if you do kick it as a touchback, you're now rewarding them even more yards with the new rule, 35-yard line.
Right, but like this isn't new to the NFL. Like this should not be surprising to a single person. Remember all the deal with concussions when the CTE stuff first came onto the scene? They had the data. They didn't use it. It came out because Will Smith made a damn movie and there were reports about a bunch of stuff, and that's how the general public found out about it. And then with the pressure from the outside, they were forced into protecting their players. This league has always been hypocritical. It has always been self-serving, and it will continue to be so. We're just in the crosshairs.
But the thing is, to your point about it became public, the majority of people that we talk to, I would say outside of Philadelphia, you watch any of the football shows, they're all in favor of keeping the tush push. So who is he appeasing?
Yeah, like his own agenda.
Right, exactly. So he's not appeasing you mentioned the general public. I know that there are people that hate the tush push that aren't Eagles fans. I get it. Because they're oh, man, this is so stupid. It's such a dumb play. But I would imagine the majority of people don't care about it as much as what we're making it out to be because it's our play. It's the Eagles' play.
Yes, but the point is not public pressure. The point is the league is going to do what the league wants to do. That's how it's always been. That's how it always
the thing is, though, when you say that, that's incorrect, though. The league is not going to do what it wants to do. I mean, the league is the commissioner is trying to force something that the league obviously doesn't want to do.
Yeah, because not the majority of people.
Then he's not, but he's not speaking for the league. He's one guy.
Well,
and
guess
he
what?
seems to be pushing just an agenda. This Dan Quinn stuff.
Yeah, so here you go. Dan Quinn spoke to Johnny's buddy Steve Weich, who I got to finally meet.
Good dude, eh?
We'll get to it in a second. But yeah, basically Dan Quinn got on the record. Here it is.
My thoughts are like, I have to spend time, how do we stop this? Right. And as a coach, it's good because it pushes you to new spots and how do you look at things differently. And so whether that was our time in Dallas, kind of when we were competing against Philadelphia, now here as a commander. So I spend way more time thinking about how to stop it, what unique things can you do? And so that's where, I land on that.
Well, we did see the Frankie Louvu, the Louvu leap, we'll call that right there. I mean, was that him being instinctive or was that something you guys kind of strategically planned?
We planned that.
So
what does that tell you?
He's straight up telling you, look, we're trying to find ways to stop it. We're not just going to sit here and complain that it's a play.
There you go.
Football guy.
Dan Quinn, football guy.
Football guy. That's what it's coming down to.
I would have absolutely gotten all over him if he was, because I would expect him to be somebody that would support it. That would support the tush push, not be against it. And he says, we're trying to figure out ways to defend it.
Football guy.
Yeah.
I understand it.
Right.
By the way, Steve checks in, Steve G. How about adding another regular season game? Is that for player safety? He's right. Now, I understand that it's not much data in terms of the extra game harming people. That won't happen for years if you can even prove that. But to Steve's point, they added an extra regular season game. Why? Revenue.
But you know what they did see, though? Remember everybody said, the 17th game, there's going to be a ton more injuries?
Yeah.
They found out that it didn't happen.
Right, that's what I'm saying. It's in terms of the overall toll, we won't find out for years, and I don't even know if you can prove that.
Yeah,
but the point that Steve's trying to make is they didn't add the extra game for the benefit of a player. They added the extra game for the benefit of their pockets.
Sure. That's what they're about.
And that's what this seems to be all about, even though I don't see the ratings decline because of a tush push. All right. Phillies back in action today. Zach Wheeler versus Kyle Freeland. Freeland's better than Marquez, so maybe they'll hit the...
Don't say anything about how the Phillies are going to roll. They got these first two games.
No, that's what I'm saying. Freeland's a better pitcher, so maybe they'll play better today.
Lefty, too.
So the Phillies... and that's been a fun experiment so far. Phil's back in action, 6:45 start today. By the way, quick standings. Let's check the standings. The Braves lost again yesterday.
0-6.
The Atlanta Braves are now 0-6 to start the season. So, again, continue to pile up those wins when you play lesser opponents. We won't say that they're going to roll, but the Rockies are a far lesser opponent than the Phillies.
You're 5 in the loss column now for the Braves.
So keep on winning ball
nice.
games. Now, here's the deal. They're already without Strider and Acuna to start the season up until the month of May. And, of course, Jerickson Profar just got nabbed for the 80-game suspension because of performance-enhancing drugs.
And no postseason.
Which is amazing. They just had another bit of rough news. Ronaldo Lopez, who had a very, very, very good season for them last year.
It was huge.
An ERA of 1.99. Great season for him. He's getting arthroscopic shoulder surgery.
He's going to be out for a minimum of 8 to 9 weeks. 8 to 9 weeks. So you're missing, by the way, that'll be the first 2 series of the year.
Yeah.
Where he is going to miss in the Phillies-Braves series. That's all I'm watching.
He pitched really well against the Phillies last year.
And he had an over his head year last year.
Yeah.
But it was
absolutely.
a great year. And that's just another ding to that team, man.
I mean, because you're down to Sale, who's still very good.
Right.
Schwellenbach is like becoming a major league pitcher.
He's every bit dangerous what he's showing. He's been really good.
But think about it. They lost
good against the Phillies,
free to free agency. He goes to the Yankees. Strider's not back. Ronaldo Lopez is now hurt. This is just the pitching staff.
Correct.
Let alone their MVP is Ronald Acuna Jr., who's still hurt. Freddie Freeman, who's been gone with the Dodgers for the last couple of years. But this team is dealing with a lot of stuff right now, so it's very important for the Phillies to pile up wins.
Do you think a team can be out of the race in April?
No. Well,
No.
I'm sorry.
Out of the postseason race, no. Out of the division race, I could say yeah. Absolutely. I think you could be. If you got 5 in the loss column on them now, if you were able to extend that to 11, 12, with this Phillies pitching staff, I don't see them giving that up. That doesn't mean anything come playoff time.
Yeah, Johnny, you remember your mandate to the Phillies, what they can't do as far as bad stretches of the season?
Take the foot off the gas?
Yeah.
Yeah, but even if they play, I'm not getting it. I'm not getting that it's going to be that much of a swing.
They were awful.
They were.
Last year's team was great, and they were awful for 2 months out of the season.
They were 34 and 35.
Yeah.
They were 34 and 35 for a stretch. I just don't see it, especially with what the Braves are going to have to deal with. Take advantage. Next week, we get to talk about that.
Yeah, absolutely.
They match right up.
And we get to talk about the Dodgers a little bit, maybe, this weekend, because there's a lot of rain in the forecast.
By the way, tomorrow is looking better.
Well, that's good.
So it is looking better
All
for getting in the game tomorrow.
I like that.
So with the Rockies. So.
All right. What do we got in the text line, Connor?
All right, we have people checking in left and right on the Tush Push conversation and what we've been getting into from today's show. Keith in Abington says it has nothing to do with safety and everything to do with teams being butthurt that they can't stop the Eagles or they don't like the Eagles. It has nothing to do with injuries and everything to do with ego and not stopping it and jealousy that they can't replicate it.
Now, here's the thing. The not liking the Eagles thing. I'm going to expand on this more coming up next as we got one more segment. We'll have the Key 3 coming up. It's one thing we always do like the Billy in South Philly.
Yeah, Billy in South.
It's one thing for like Stan in Nova Scotia to not like the play. These are owners.
Correct.
Or to not like the Eagles, sorry. These are owners. These are GMs. Like,
they don't want their team to lose to it, though.
Yeah, so what are they supposed to like the Eagles?
No,
what is your defense here?
No. They should not be talking like fans. Like, oh, I hate that play.
What
it's
do you
boring.
mean? They are.
No, this is stupid. This conversation has gotten dumb.
The only argument against it is the people doing I just don't like it. It doesn't look good.
And if you're a football owner or talk about the sport and what it actually is. Physicality, offensive line, defensive line. It's just dumb.
So now owners are supposed to know football? How many out there are idiots?
Oh,
come on, man. This ain't new.
This is ridiculous. All right, coming up next, we'll dive deeper into that. We'll get some text messages. And we got the Key 3 here on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Tyrone Johnson.
How we so far? Outside of Ojulari, I don't believe in none of that.
We got the key 3 at 9:48. Have you seen the start of the season to one Eugenio Suarez, who was the third baseman for the Arizona Diamondbacks?
I have crushing the ball.
He had the big home run last night, which beat the Yankees. Oh, wait a minute. The Torpedo Bats didn't win them another baseball game, huh? Maybe it was just Nestor Cortez and the bad Brewers. Anyways, Suarez is 5 for 18 this season. 21 plate appearances, 4 walks. He's 5 for 18. All 5 hits are home runs. Isn't that amazing?
That's pretty awesome.
He's 5 for 18. All 5 hits are home runs. He leads the league in home runs with 5. Leads the league in RBI with 11. His batting average is .278. On base is .381. His slugging is over 1,000. Because it's all home runs.
Trade for him at the deadline, baby. He sounds like a Philly already.
Yeah, I don't think so when Arizona's going to be in the mix for playoff contention. Because they got a nice little squad there.
Well, you liked them before the year, so we'll see. It's only been a week, but we'll see. You like them. I think they're going to be a good team.
They got a good pitching staff. They got a nice little lineup. I think they'll be. I don't think they're close to winning that division.
Dodgers haven't lost yet.
Yeah, I know. The Dodgers might never lose. We'll find out. All right, let's get a couple more text messages on this tush push discussion. And yeah, I hate that the owners are thinking like fans. Like, come on, man. You run a company. You run an organization. Don't think like a guy on social media that has a player as their photo and they don't like the Eagles. Like, it's ridiculous.
You got owners that are looking at Madden ratings of players to make decisions.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
There's dumb owners that make dumb decisions. This ain't new. We have a check-in here on the text line from Jose in Delaware, who says, regardless of what the coaches have said, it's the owners who vote. Sucks, but the brotherly shove is going to get banned. That's just reality.
But what do again, why would an owner vote against it? Forget Roger Goodell trying to sway votes.
Yes.
All right? Why would an owner who is supposed to be smart, which you're right, Connor, not all of them are, but why would an owner vote against the tush push? Because I would imagine if you're an owner of a football team, right, a lot of it is just cutting checks. I know Jeffrey Lurie's very much involved, but a lot of owners in any sport, like Josh Harris, for example. Josh Harris isn't making basketball decisions. He cuts the checks, right? So there's a lot of owners in football that probably just get sheets of paper handed to them.
Yes.
So if I'm an owner and I go, all right, well, what's the injury risk? And they hand a sheet of paper that says 0 injuries. All right, well, I guess I can't say that's my reason. Because these guys all have to talk. They all do talk. And so is it really just going to come down to optics?
They're going to sound so
dumb.
So cheesy.
No, they're going to sound dumb.
Yeah, it's just going to sound stupid.
It's going to sound dumb. Like, Matt LaFleur is saying it's not a football play when you are a football coach and you know what it takes to run this play is embarrassing.
So for everybody, again, here are the people you need to tune out. Anyone who tells you, it just doesn't, I don't like how it looks, tune them out.
Yeah, but someone who tells making the decision.
Someone who tells you it's not a football play. It is a football play, it's legal. So just tune that out. Or the person who tells you, it's a rugby play, because it's not a rugby play and it has nothing to do with rugby, doesn't assemble. So tune that out. There are so many stupid arguments being trotted out against this. Just start to ignore these because it's just, you know that the person doesn't come to the gunfight with any bullets in the gun. Or even a pea shooter with something they can spit out of their straw because they probably got like one of those crappy paper straws.
Yeah, but they don't have to because the guys with the gun have their hands tied behind their back. That's the reality of the situation.
Could be.
Right?
Could be.
They don't have to make a smart argument.
Your best, Andrew, the observation you had is amazing.
What did I do this time?
To look at the coaches that support it. Dan Quinn there, by the way, and I asked Steve, and he goes, no, I believe DQ is not anti-tush push.
Yeah.
So, Dan Quinn, Mike Vrabel,
Dan Campbell,
Aaron Glenn, Dan Campbell. I mean, it's football guys.
Yeah.
And the guys who look like they drink, chai tea lattes and wear skinny jeans and get their eyebrows waxed, they're the coaches that are against it. It's the new age, look, I've got abs. But can I coach? Who the hell knows?
Like what's the Dolphins' little rat?
Mike
Mike McDaniel's so anti-tush push. But
he's
anti-tush push.
He's part of the Shanahan tree.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's the Shanahan, McVay. It's LaFleur.
He'd rather have worthless motion 95 times in a game than do a tush push.
He compared himself to Nick Sirianni about being on the hot seat.
Yeah, sure.
He said Nick Sirianni was on the hot seat last year. Dude, Nick Sirianni made the playoffs 3 years.
Yeah, you've never nowhere near the success that Sirianni is.
You're a toad. I mean, seriously, in the world of NFL coaches, you're the toad. You haven't been made a prince yet.
Give us another text, Connor.
All right, we also have a check-in here. Anyone that votes for the tush-push ban are the same people who, as kids, took their ball and went home because they weren't winning. And as they were walking away, they were crying about how unfair it is.
No, it's literally what it is.
You brought up a great point, though, earlier, Connor, today when you were doing, how many times have all of us gotten the lecture about, look, life isn't fair. There doesn't have to be a rationale with people because sometimes people are just punitive. It's just the way it is, and your parents teach you that.
Right.
Some of us learned it. Some of us, like me, raising my hand, have never learned it.
And it sucks when the people who are punitive and do not have good backup for their argument are in positions of power.
Correct.
But in this instance, they are.
That's ridiculous.
Well, okay, but how many times are we going to say ridiculous before we realize we're fighting an unwinnable battle? The reasoning has no basis in logic, and we're going to have to live with the decision.
Hey,
because you know what happens, Connor? The people, as Andrew just stated eloquently there.
Thank you.
The people who don't, too many people are sitting back in the world in a variety of things in life, and they just say, that's the way it is. Nothing I say is going to change it.
I'm going to fight the good fight.
Find your damn voices. Find it, whatever your cause is, whatever it is, find your voice. You don't have to find violence. You don't have to find criminal behavior. Just find your voice and make sure your voice is heard.
And I'll call it like it is.
Don't just
hypocrisy.
Don't just roll over and go, yeah, it's hypocrisy, but we're just going to take it.
No, I'm not saying roll over, but there is a point where it's inevitable where we just have to come to terms with the result or we're going to drive ourselves insane.
But let's say this, dude, even if it's not banned, right? Let's say this year it's not banned, next year it's banned. I better hear on any of the shows, and if it's not on any of the shows, we'll make sure it happens. The second the Bills run the tush push next year, I will call out the hypocrisy, even if it's not banned. Because that guy, Sean McDermott, is one of the biggest voices. He's louder than what the Packers have done. He's the loudest voice that I've heard so far that's anti-tush push, and yet he'll use it next year. On the record, he'll use it next year if it's not banned.
Yeah,
and I will call that out.
And guess what? 31 other franchises don't care because it doesn't hurt them. And we were the same way about rules in the past that might have hurt a specific team and didn't hurt the Eagles. This is just reality.
No, it has nothing to do with the Eagles for me. It really doesn't.
It doesn't. I mean, and all the teams that are in support of it, like all the teams that are supporting it that are not the Eagles, shows you that it is. There are many, many long-term ex-football players playing in this league who now coach saying this is ridiculous. The ESPN analysts were amazing. The ex-NFL players, they're all calling this out as complete BS.
Right, but when it does happen, they won't give it a second thought after. They made their case clear. They believed one thing. It moved on. They move on with their lives.
And I think it's weak, and we will continue to call it out. All right, time now for the Kincade Salciunas Key 3 best minutes from today's show.
Now, the Kincade Salciunas Key 3. Today's best.
Johnny, we got more enemies today, man. This is ridiculous.
Everything about this story that you think you've heard has changed. It's all changed since yesterday. It's a different story today that we're going to be talking about on the show today.
And it seems like the state of the tush push is legitimately in danger. So yesterday, when we're on the air, we're trying to do the math of the coaches or GMs that have come straight up and have said whether they're for the tush push or in favor of banning the tush push. There are some guys that are very much on the record. Of course, we knew that there were some teams kind of waiting in the weeds, right?
Jordan Schultz reporting yesterday, he thought there were 16 votes. I know Steve Weish and some of the people at the NFL Network thought they had 14. So almost half the league was willing to say, yeah, ban it.
But not 24,
Correct.
which is the number that it would have taken for the league to have officially banned the tush push. So here's what happened. When the conversation first comes out, while we're on the air yesterday, Diana Rossini reported that it could just be straight up tabled. I thought thought that was all right, we have no momentum with getting this play banned. Let's just say, to hell with it. We'll try to get rid of it next year, or maybe something will come up during the season. Connor even brought up conspiracy theories of what if guys fake injuries next season just to try to get it
Which,
banned.
by the way, was not outlandish.
No, I don't think so.
That's not
either.
outlandish.
Yeah.
But I think it would only happen on goal line play.
Right, because you don't want to get
Because-
taken out of the game at midfield.
Because the only play you have to sit out if you're a defensive player faking it is the kickoff.
Right.
Yeah, I had half a good idea.
No, I
Just
think
got the
it's-
rest of
But
it.
I
It's still a pretty
understood
good
what you
idea.
were saying, because there are people that straight up hate the play that would probably
Yes.
go to those lengths
Frankie.
to try to prove a point.
Frankie, down the beltway.
Exactly. So I thought the table discussion was just like, all right, we'll try this again next year. No. Turns out the table discussion is for Roger Goodell and the other owners who are anti-tush push to reconvene, have more time to try to sway the opinion of those who were in favor of keeping the tush push, or come up with maybe terminology surrounding the play itself. This is becoming political.
Why, though?
I don't know.
Yes, you do. You do, though.
Wimps?
No. Well, that's part of it. But here it is. We can't stop you. So we're going to stop you. We're going to find a way to stop you. And to me, it's the ultimate respect. This is the ultimate. It's not disrespect. This is the ultimate respect.
All right, it's respect, but it's still ridiculous if it does end up getting banned.
We hate it. We hate it because it's happening to us. But I hear Mike Missanelli yesterday, and our own Mike, and I'm a big listener to Mike, and I love Mike, and I've listened to Mike argue this for you. And he's like, you people, you only like this because it's an Eagles thing. Bull crap, Mike.
I'm still upset that Roger Goodell, who is, to your point, supposed to be the commissioner of all owners,
correct,
is allowing his own personal opinion, his own personal bias to try to sway the vote. That's horrible.
You go check the charter of the commissioner of the NFL. That is not his role. His role is not to set precedent. His role is not to rule on those things. His role is to just facilitate the process of the evaluation. He is not supposed to be inserting himself into this with an agenda.
We're joined now by our man from ESPN, Adam Schefter.
I believe that there are people in the league that are jealous of the Eagles' success. I believe there are people that can't duplicate the Eagles' success. I believe the commissioner and others don't like the play, and I believe the play is going to go away. I'm not telling you it's right. I'm surprised that it went this way. I did not think that was going to happen, but it's gathered up momentum, and I believe those people have the support of the commissioner, and I don't know how he's going to do it, but he's going to find the 8 votes he needs to get to 24. I'm just telling you.
They didn't allow it yesterday. They didn't allow a vote. So that way, they make sure that the vote that comes up on this is one vote, and they hope that they're going to find 24. I don't think they're going to find 24 teams to do it. I still do not. But I think they're going to get a lot closer to 24.
All right, that's the Kincade Salciunas Key 3 best minutes from today's show. We kind of mentioned it in passing, but we didn't talk all that much, obviously, about it because we're not really breaking down the Denver Nuggets. Nikola Jokic yesterday.
He's outrageous.
61 points, 11 rebounds, and 10 assists.
Remember when people used to debate who the best
Yeah,
was?
I know. Yeah.
That was interesting times.
Okay, well, let me ask you this. This guy's not stopping, right? He's, how old is he?
31.
31? Yeah, I was going to say 31.
30. He turned 30 in February.
Wow.
So a very young 30.
He's our age.
But what does he have? 4 or 5 more years at his
prime.
At his prime.
Prime.
Like 35 is, I think,
and you
late
know what,
prime.
dude? Maybe even longer, because let's not act like he's Mr. Sprinting up and down the court.
No, you're right, you're right.
He might be able
And-
to. His play is.
And he's not getting beaten up the way some guys get beat up.
Could he go down as like a top 5 NBA player?
Absolutely.
He's going to have the most MVPs, most likely.
Think about it.
Isn't he going to have how many MVPs did Jordan have? I mean, he may have
3.
He's going to have 3. Jokic's going to have 3.
Yeah, because
Then he might have a 4th.
He can't lose this year. He's a
I mean,
he's a 3-time MVP now. So
he's
he'll
going to have his 4th. Yes, he should be.
He's
But
averaging for his career 22 points, 11 rebounds, and 7 assists.
Jordan has 5. My bad.
Oh, 5. Okay, no, so he's going to be one behind Jordan after this year.
22, 11, and 7 for his career.
I know the lobby for Embiid was very hard here, but I never got it.
Now their games were different. Embiid in terms of overall game, including defense,
just power.
Nikola Jokic doesn't play defense.
No, he doesn't
at all.
He doesn't. That's never really been a determinant in MVP, though.
But this guy is going to go down as when we do the whole give me your all-time starting 5, does he replace certain centers?
You might
Sure
have
he
to.
could.
You know what I'm saying?
Shaq already put him ahead.
That's what I'm saying. Shaq, Wilt, Kareem.
Shaq already put him ahead. Already said 2 years ago, said nobody's picking me over him.
This guy's not stopping
with that
anytime
total
soon either.
total skill set. And in today's game, it's good.
Yeah.
So, hey, support life-saving cancer research. Join us and our generous partner, Window Nation, and make a donation to the American Association for Cancer Research. You can do it. 975thefanatic.com/AACR because cancer research saves lives. Fun Wednesday.
Yeah, absolutely. Thing is, Embiid should have won MVP that year. You could make the case that he should be a 4-time MVP already. Make the case because he was runner-up to Embiid. And a lot of people thought they just gave it to Embiid.
I'm all for Embiid. No, I don't think anybody gave it to Embiid.
He deserved it. All right, Mike Missanelli Show with Bill and Ray.